How are we doing, guys? Just waiting for coverage to get started. For those that want to watch the Players' Championship, it's currently on Twitch. So, yeah, join my Twitch channel if you want to watch the Players' Championship. 44 watching it currently on Twitch. As soon as they get going again, we'll get going again. So, good to be back. Hope you've had a good week or so, guys. Let's get on with some action, hopefully, very soon.
He doesn't mind.
Ronnie has got at least 2 visits here to take care of 138.
It's a difficult question, isn't it? He still does pick up the odd title here and there. We mentioned that he did win a challenge for 2 events last year. That's the level that he plays at these days.
But he's down to a 2-darter.
I think anybody that's played in the era of the dominant Phil Taylor will probably say they haven't won enough, but there's one main reason
not even
for that.
Guaranteed to lead
I
the
think that's
finish
very
now.
fair, actually. He's qualified for World Championships, both BDO, PDC, World Seniors now. He ticks a lot of boxes.
Yeah, and I think that's an important point, because we judge players on what they've won, but at the end of the day, in every tournament, only one can win.
Correct. Not everybody's going to have an even amount of titles throughout their career. You have to work really hard just to get the ones that you do get. I mean, he's won ranking events in quite a few countries. Switzerland, Japan, England.
But he's going to have to start winning legs here. Is that in? Still can't tell.
54.
Well, it wasn't.
Rishioka 16.
Houston seems to be getting way too many opportunities at the outer ring, and he's taking most of them. He may only be 2 legs away from victory and putting Jenks away for now.
Often has been the way with Andy Jenkins, hasn't it? He can put in a decent display and then struggle in the next match. He very much is an on-the-day player.
Very much so. If you look at the difference between the first 9 average for Howson and his overall average,
85.
that tells me that his approach play has been really good and his doubles have been fine. Whereas Andy's first 9 is decent, but he's tailing off and missing too many doubles, and that really does paint the picture.
Let's not forget, of course, despite being one of the big stories in this tournament last year, Richie Howson didn't make it past this stage. He wasn't in action on the final day. He was beaten by Martin Adams, who produced some inspired finishing to defeat him.
This is better from Andy.
114.
Someone who has not really changed his kit throughout his career. He may have changed the actual barrels that he uses, but the construct of them is extremely similar to what they were previously. Couch-shaped flights.
44.
And that design's been on the end of his darts, well, since he was winning titles at the top of the PDC 20 years ago.
95.
He's left himself that 138. We're going to see Mr. 138 in action later on, despite what Paul Nicholson predicted.
Stop it, you.
85. Andy O'Connor 138.
Good to see people having a nice Saturday afternoon, enjoying what could be their day off from work, or their weekend off from work.
Yeah, Keith Taylor is going to play Neil Duff in the game after the next one. That is Dennis Harbour against Kevin Painter, another man who's got a determination to lift one of these World Seniors crowns.
97. Andy O'Connor 98.
Howson had a shot at this earlier on, and he did get the 60. But Andy was way back when Richie went for it, so it's a very different shot.
Well, I think he was pondering whether to split or go for it. He took an age to decide, and I'm not sure he was even sure what he wanted to do when he stepped back up to the hockey. Missed the chance, and now Howson has double 15. Same outcome, similar shot. Jenkins off the hook.
16.
As soon as that 60 went in, Jenks just shaking his head as if to say, will you stop it? Plenty of room to the right of that one.
Game shot on the
And then we have a level
second
game in set
Andy
3.
Jenkins.
But it could easily have
Richie to
been
throw first.
2-0, 2-0.
Just worth pointing out that Andy Jenkins has actually removed his
100.
spectacles, hasn't he? He was wearing them at the start of the match. They're on the table behind him now.
It's something that we have seen from some other players in the past. Phil Taylor did that at the
58.
Grand Slam once. They can take some getting used to. In fact, I went the other way. I started with spectacles and got surgery and had to eventually take them off. When it comes to the glare from the lights, it's very, very bright up there, so you've got to feel comfortable.
I have to say, when he
140.
chatted to Helen after beating Bob Anderson in straight sets yesterday, he didn't seem brimming with confidence. She asked him specifically about the spectacles, and he said that, well, they're working for now. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. He's decided they don't today.
140.
Maybe he's not 100% convinced that he wants to have them. He might need them
99.
though.
Richie
He may have to do some
121.
adaptation work over the next few months, because the exit door in this tournament is getting closer. Nice
89.
leave from Howson in a predominantly English last 16. Only 4 players in the last 16 not English.
100. Richie O'Connor 32.
Double 16 to move closer to being the first man to win in the last 16.
Game shot the
And
third
Richie
leg.
Howson
Richie
now is
Howson.
one leg
Both
away
again to the first. Game
from a
on.
quarter-final berth of the World Seniors Championship.
60.
If he wins this leg, oh look, it's Michael Barnard in the middle there. Great player from this neck of the woods. I didn't know that the man we call
100.
Farmyard was coming today.
A lot in the darting world are watching this. I've been
97.
scrolling through social media, and many have got pals in the event, haven't they? People who are current players, pundits. Many of them actually here in the arena. We saw some earlier on.
It's been great for feedback, this tournament. Lots of people
100.
tweeting in, letting us know how they feel about the chances of these players. You've got to say at this point, with Howson back in the 60 twice, that he wants to get rid of this quickly before it gets interesting. He doesn't want to give Rocky the chance of getting off the canvas and fixing the problem.
42.
Yeah, Rocky on the ropes, no doubt about that. The writing may be on the wall for Andy Jenkins now.
especially now that Howson's got the darts. He could take care of 201 and 6. And if he does, job done, but that's a bad visit. Oh, look who it is. Wrong hand, Roland. Wrong instrument as well, that was a pen.
I can reveal we are going to hear from Roland Schulz a little bit later on. He's going to give us a hand in the commentary box. Special guest coming in the next match as well. We'll keep that as a surprise for you viewers at home. What a way to win this match. This would be double 12.
117. And your car 77.
That would not have been a nice surprise for Andy. Now he's looking for the John Part Circus Tavern Special at double top. He finds it, and he's still alive.
Andy Jenkins.
Welcome to set play, everybody. This is do or done. Jenkins wins the leg. We've got a game on our hands. Howson wins. We go to match 2, which is Harbour versus Painter.
And what he's done, he's given himself a chance to redeem what happened in the previous set, where Jenkins had the darts to win and level up the match. Now he's looking to break Howson, who, don't forget, did miss a match dart, albeit at the end of a 1-4-1 attempt.
He may have seen that 1-4-1 as a bonus chance. But if we think about Colin McGarry last night, he only got one shot at double top on a 160 attempt. But the thing about Howson is, he's scoring better in the leg after.
Yeah, this is exceptionally strong. A brace of ton 40s, but what an answer from Andy.
Much needed. He's still behind. You can see what 180s do at the tavern on a Saturday afternoon. Gets everybody off their chairs.
You said it, what a time. What a time to hit the first maximum of the match.
Could have used another.
59.
And no trouble at all there means that Howson, this time, on a big out, has got time on his side. It doesn't have to go. And it's not going to. But he does lead tops.
And Andy Jenkins left hoping and praying for a miracle and a miss.
60.
Realistically, I think Andy knows the game may be up.
Up top for Richie Howson. Because his darts do dangle down, he did have to go to the left there. Jenkins' prayers are answered. What can he produce here?
Well, this is where you're thinking, why did I leave 1-4-2? Why couldn't I have left something like a 1-2-1 where I can afford to hit a single? Having said that, he might get double 11 for the set. Wow! Andy Jenkins with a knockout punch to keep the match alive. Incredible. And Richie Howson has got his hands on his face as if to say, where did that come from? Still got it, Andy. Still in the match.
And that after Howson had missed 3 match darts himself, 4 in total in the set. But I think the question that everybody has on their mind right now is, where on earth did he find that from?
He's taken a moment, because that was a massive adrenaline rush for him. I like Niagara Falls, really, when it comes to adrenaline. I bet he hasn't felt like that for a while.
I'll tell you what I did like about that, apart from the brilliance of it and the reaction from Andy Jenkins, but the fact that he chose to stay there, because there are many players that have their ways of going, would have switched to, say, treble 14. When the dart is so good, just follow it. Another treble 20, you're getting a dart at a double at that stage of a match. It doesn't matter which one it is.
Correct. Any double. Just play to your strengths. He's got a powerful throw. When he had that dart in the 60, hit it. Hit the dart. Let it collect in that red segment to give you a shot, like you said, Murph, at any double. Could be double 1. It could be double 7. You don't care as long as it's a shot. And it proves my point about something that we talk about all the time. When people get greedy on that treble 11 or that treble 14 and they miss the whole segment, having a shot at something, anything, is better than no shot at all.
Now he wants to compound Howson's misery. 4 match darts passed up in that set by Howson. And Jenkins has the darts in set 4.
36.
I called it a knockout punch. It was more like putting Howson on the canvas type of thing. He hasn't knocked him out yet. It very much felt like one.
In the ilk of a Rocky script, wasn't it? He looked completely floored. Staggered to his feet and delivered that blow.
You see the score breakdowns. Equal in ton plus scores.
100.
Overall, it's Howson who has played the better stuff. I expected after that 1-4-2 out for this leg and the next to be somewhat nervy, because they are trying to come back down after that 5th leg of the 3rd set.
Bullseye. Oh, it's brilliant. It's back-to-back brilliance from Andy Jenkins, who follows that blockbuster 1-4-2 with a 1-2-6 on the ball to kick off the next set, and suddenly he's motoring.
55.
He wasn't confident earlier in the match, but he's starting to look confident now.
He ditched the spectacles and became spectacular.
85.
Don't forget there was a 180 in that leg as well at the end of that previous set, the only one of the match so far.
Howson really wants to be part of tomorrow. He does not want to be 5 minutes down the road and having to watch as people take their place in the last 8 when
55.
he's denied. This is a strong position he is still in. It has felt stronger than it does right now, but he's got to remain focused on the task at hand as opposed to what has been missed previously, because we are including a match starting.
Already hardened to a real battle, Richie Howson, when he met David Cameron in the opening round. That went the distance.
59.
Was looking a lot more comfortable until Jenkins produced that incredible finish, backed up by another. But this is better from Howson. He's leaving
79.
Jenkins in his slipstream in this leg.
Games have changed on lesser finishes than a 1-4-2. Careers have changed on stuff similar to that. Howson this time goes for double 6. And that looked pretty routine. Back in the groove, 1-1 in set 4. Jenkins back under pressure.
Yeah, 15 dart leg there from Richie Howson, a very good standard in this tournament.
Hasn't got his best mate with him here today, Richie. Keegan Brown has made his way to Barnsley for PDC Pro Tour action. That starts today. All eyes on the seniors on Saturday afternoon, though, to see how Keegan's pal does in the last 16 against the former pro Jenkins. Do you think the title of the King of Cosham, by the way, that Paul Starr said at the beginning of the match, is a self-titled nickname from Andy, or is it something that he wants to go by?
You said that, Paul. I only agreed.
98.
Stop trying to get me into trouble, you.
I think you did a good job of that yourself. Keith Dellarup later on today, by the way. Let's get your prediction for that one.
59.
I think Duffman's going to win, because he played superbly well in the first round, and even though Keith had some great moments and some very key ton plus checkouts in his match against Mike Huntley, I really do think that Duffman is playing at a better level at the minute. But when it comes to that, and we will talk about it, Murph, I'll be interested to see how Duffman handles the chalk.
Yeah, we will talk chalk, because I'm sure Ray Stubbs and Bobby George will before that match, because we were
2023
talking about
for Chris Dobie
the rules
outside.
coming in on points
It's back.
because of their intent on the
Grind of the
dartboard.
Players'
Well,
Championship,
it
and
was evident for
been in the
everybody to
spotlight
see
on the big stages.
that the chalk was splattered all over the
Bulk
board,
of-
wasn't it, when Della got his win against Huntley?
I haven't had a chance to ask Mike if it affected him.
55.
He is in the audience this
And
afternoon.
now 136.
Well, let's see if Andy Jenkins can chalk up another big finish. It won't happen, but he does have time on his side.
Even with all of his experience, he's
42.
not going to the 19s with Dart 2 there to try and set up tops with 4 19s, a treble and a single. I find that mystifying. Seeing young players come through and playing with Simon Whitlock, a great counter all the time in Hampshire. Seeing him do that is a bit puzzling for me.
100.
Jenkins did have a nice 94 checkout in his win against Bob Anderson in round 1. He hit treble 18 and double top.
54.
Not on this occasion, and Howson now has an opportunity to break and move once again to the brink of victory.
He's going to miss the 60, it wants to be low. That'll do. You see, he was trying to catch the flight. He's better off under-delivering that dart than over-delivering it.
See again there, Andy Jenkins was racing to the oche, but then just decided to take a moment, step back, took a drink. He knows the magnitude of this moment.
Tens. In it goes, and he's in the lead in set 4. What a very different game we've got on our hands to what we thought at the end of set 3.
Howson's level has actually got better as the game has gone on, but what Andy Jenkins has started to do is win the key moments.
Andy's average has improved by 2 points since set 1. That's all.
Richie Howson's has stuck another 4 or 5 on his. But
Those
Jenkins has won the moments, that's what it's all about. That's why averages are not on trophies and don't win matches.
Not to mention the fact that Richie's average in the first 9 has improved by about 4 points as well. You talk about key moments.
80.
No more key moment in this match is categorising Andy Jenkins than that 1-4-2 checkout. He is still hanging on to Howson, but maybe when you see darts falling on the floor, because dart players do think this way, they think, we're winning out of fortune here. Some of these guys are incredibly superstitious, and they do believe in luck
100.
when they probably shouldn't.
Laboured leg so far from the pair of them. Richie Howson
Into our third
That's the
game
chance
here on
with the
Streaming Board
darts
1
to
at Players Championship
get to
1.
another
It is
deciding
the
leg. We've had
German
that in the
number
last couple
1,
of
Gabriel
sets after he
Clemens,
breezed through the first.
remaining seeded player on this board after the seeded player on this board after the
I think
demise
sometimes
of
that Andy's
Peter Wright.
trying
Steve
too
Beaton
hard.
did for Snakebite.
He's got this
Just seen
great
Ronnie Hybrex make his
action,
return to
which if he just
PDC
lets
Pro
it
Tour action as a
flow,
tour card holder,
think
but
about
he
it
was
too
beaten
much.
in the last leg decided
Try
by
too
Ted Evans,
hard.
having missed a couple of
It
match
would
darts.
be a
But
lot more
Clemens
fruitful.
goes up against the 5-time world champion
Almost like he's trying
Raymond
to
van
aim too
Barneveld.
much.
Just
Just
have
let
the
that
little
beautiful
curtain
action
fall over the side
flow.
of the camera, so it
That's
looks
a
like
much
some sort
better
of
throw in my
voyeur
opinion.
cam. We've
But
got
look at the way
pointers
he's
of players there,
talking
but
himself.
that'll just
He's
add a little bit of
demanding
mystery and
too
mystique
much
to
from a
this
result,
contest
as
between
opposed to just letting
two of
it
the big
happen
international
with the natural
stars
talent.
of this game. The winner will face either Rapid Ricky Evans, the fastest player on the planet,
Single will
or
do.
Jurjen van der Velde, a new
It's a
tour
roll of the
card
eyes from Paul
holder,
Nicholson
young
alongside
Dutchman
me,
who's a
who
product of
thinks
the
maybe
Junior
we
Darts
could have concentrated
Corporation.
on finding that single.
What did I say earlier? I know Andy's on 160, but we know he's capable of big outs. So guarantee yourself a shot at anything. Like the ball, when Andy could have easily found himself on tops there for the set.
Yeah, it was a stunning 1-4-2 to win the previous set. Threatened the 160 to win this one. It's going to be one dart at double 16 to take us to a fifth leg. And now Andy Jenkins should get two at tops to square up the match.
This is where having the break after set 2 is genius, because it can be a game of two halves. That's a good single. He can attack this tops now. They may be the only darts he gets for the set if Howson's got anything to do with it. Having said that, Andy does have the darts on the next leg, which may be beginning very soon. But it depends on the owl. That's a great shot. I really thought he was going to hit that double 8 because the guy was so delicious.
Nowhere near as big, but every bit as big as a 142, if you get my drift with that comment.
You think about the career of Andy Jenkins, he's been under pressure for 3 decades at many different levels. Made his England debut back in 1994. Do you know who he made his debut against?
I'm sure you're going to tell me.
I think about iconic dart players. They don't really come much more iconic than the person he played in 1994 in his debut for England. Leighton Rees, playing the first ever world champion. The first time you don an England shirt. That's pressure.
And of course, as we mentioned yesterday, 45 years ago to the day yesterday it was since Leighton Rees became the first ever world darts champion.
I wonder what Leighton would make of this. And Eric. And some of the others who are sadly no longer with us. I think they would love the fact that these guys are getting another big crack at big money and a glorious trophy.
Richie Howson certainly wants a crack at the quarterfinals, and this could be the last leg of this match, but Jenkins out to stop that from happening.
The order is so good in this auditorium because they are living every dart with the players. There's a mini gasp in here every time a treble 20's hit. And there'll be a big gasp for that one. That's his first maximum of the match.
He's done exactly what Andy Jenkins did at the back end of the previous set. His first 180 may well be his penultimate visit. 93 for Howson to win it.
Went the bull route, it's now 89. And no shot at the bull or the outer ring. Can Jenkins repeat the trick? He could do it with 2 treble 20's again, but he needs this one to land.
He also had that 126 on the bull, didn't he, at the start of this set. Now he wants the bull to win the set.
He was out of rhythm. When he went for the 142, it was all in rhythm. When he hit the 126, he was in rhythm. He thought about that too much. And believe me when I say this, in the corner of our screen, we could see that Richie Howson couldn't watch that. He thought the repeat of history was imminent.
Well, this is match start number 5. And he gets it at the 6th attempt. After Rocky brought the fight to Richie Howson, it is the hometown hero who is the first man into the final day of action. Howson conquers Jenkins by 3 sets to 1 to book his place in the quarterfinals.
Ladies and gentlemen, your appreciation for Andy Jenkins. Thanks, Rocky.
Wow.
Do you want to know the West Ham score?
I know it was 1-0 down.
That's 1-1.
Hey.
Richie, what a game.
Yeah, I nearly threw it away there. Missed starts to win it. And then Andy took out a couple of really great finishes. And the 130 at the end, I thought that was definitely going to go.
We observed you couldn't watch. because you thought it was going.
No, yeah, I couldn't. I really thought it was the Martin Adams thing all over again, but I got there.
Set play is brutal, isn't it? There you are, you had match darts, and you had to watch a 1-4-2 check out. I think the second set was crucial, though, for you, wasn't it?
Yeah, I can't remember. I think I played all right in the second set, but...
Yeah, well, because Andy missed darts, and you took out tops. Yeah, that's right, I'll remind you. It's okay, I'm here. But that's the thing about set play, because that's the difference between going to the break 2-0 up or going in one apiece, level pegging.
Yeah, it was massive, and to be fair, I really probably should have won the next set, but as I say, Andy played great there, and so pleased.
Yeah. Your doubles were going in lovely. All right, the first match darts, we'll excuse those because there's going to be pressure, but your doubles are going in lovely.
Yeah, my finishing's been great all year, to be honest with you. A lot of big finishes, one dart doubles when I need them, and they come good for me today, apart from the ones that a little bit of pressure, but you expect that, to be honest.
Looking at the draw that you've got, I know you're on the same side as Phil. Now, somebody in the room did say to me that they did hear that you would love just a bucket list to play Phil on this stage.
Who wouldn't?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to play Phil, but Darren's a good friend of mine, and I'll probably be rooting for Darren, to be honest with you, because he's one of the guys off the tour, and he's been there all year. He's put the hard work in. He's got here, so I don't mind who I play, but I'll probably be rooting for Darren.
And you've put the hard work in as well, which we can all see. Richie Howson, ladies and gentlemen, your winner this afternoon in our first game on. We got Dennis Harbour and Kevin Painter up next. We'll see you after the break. Well done, Richie.
How are we doing, guys? On YouTube. Just in case you're wondering, or want to, if you flick over to the Twitch channel, you can be watching the Players Championship. Currently, the scores for those that are interested is Raymond van Barneveld is winning 3-1 against Gabriel Clements. Pistovi is all tied up with Ryan Joyce 3 apiece. So, like I said, that's currently on my Twitch channel. Board 1 and 2 if you want to watch that. Obviously on there we will be sticking with the World Senior Darts Championship. I hope you're enjoying it. Don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe. That would be great, guys. Otherwise, just sit tight until the next game gets underway.
Bobby George is watching all the action. We've just seen Richie Houston go through to the quarter-finals, and Andy Jenkins bows out. What's your verdict on Richie's performance, Bobby?
Yeah, he played steady. No fireworks, nice and steady. Pretty good on his doubles. But Jenkins let him in a few times. And then when Jenkins started taking them out, it became a different game. I mean, if he got the 130, then he could have beat him probably. But it's a short format when you get to 2 sets all. It's only best of 3 then, and it's really dangerous, and it is a dangerous thing.
I think people love big moments in games, and Andy's 1-4-2 to save the game, and then his reaction, actually it sort of really brings the matches and brings the place alive, doesn't it? You know, he was fighting for his seniors World Championship life there.
Yeah, he played pretty well. He fought back, that's the thing. He didn't give up. It was a bit unlucky, first of all, in the first the first set, and then he put them together in the 3rd set, and then he started putting pressure on Richie, and then Richie didn't play that well, and he started thinking, hang on, I'm in trouble here. But he got away with it, with the 130 he missed, and Richie's gone through.
Well, Richie lives 5 minutes down the road. He enjoys being here. The supporters enjoy seeing him winning, and he seems to be growing and growing, enjoying the experience. And he's a great ambassador, I would suggest, for the Seniors Tour, coming through the qualifiers.
He's a qualifier, and he's a nice person with
Absolutely.
it. He's nice to everyone. Never even run anyone down. I like watching him.
Yes.
And when he's on form, he's really, really good to watch.
Next up, Dennis Harbour against Kevin Painter. Right. How's this going to go? What style of match is this going to be?
Different game completely. Harbour is so slow, but he don't mean to be slow. That's the way he is. He's a very slow player. And Kevin's wants to get on with it. So Kevin's got to calm himself down and think, well, don't look at him, look around and then think of something else, because he can drag you down. He can drag you down, Harbour.
Can that really affect you if you really start to get revved up and you want to get on with it?
Yeah, if you start playing good, and then it doesn't matter, because you've had, say he was the first set, Kevin, and he's played hard, but he's got used to the slowness. But at the beginning, that's where he's got to get used to the slowness.
So you'd be saying to Kevin Painter now, Kevin, keep your cool, young man.
Yes, cool. Just slow down, be a good boy.
And next game about to get going for a place in the quarter-final, back to Paul Starr.
Welcome back to the party, ladies and gentlemen. We are live from Purfleet at the Circus Tavern. This is the stage where legends played and dart and history was made. It's the last 16 stage of the Jennings Bet World Seniors Darts Championships, and we are ready, and the players are ready, and it's Tungsten time! And now, ladies and gentlemen, from Peterborough in England, a Jennings Bet World Seniors qualifier. Please welcome the Harbour Master, Dennis Harbour! Ladies and gentlemen, from Essex in England, he's a former Players Champion. He's a former World Finalist. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the artist, Kevin Painter!
Not very sensible.
to the Circus Tavern then, and match 2 of the last 16 will now commence. And you've got Kevin Painter, who formerly used to live in Cambridgeshire, originally from Essex, of course, who now lives in Warwickshire, now donning a tribute shirt in the same sort of vein, really, as Darren Johnson with Dennis Priestley a couple of days ago, but this one is for the 5-time world champion Eric Bristow. He's up against Dennis Harbour, who is from Cambridgeshire. That is Essex's own Charlie Costafine, who's been instructed by both players to get the board straight, because you have to have the agreement of both players before we proceed. They are the rules. And this is a knockout match to see who will go through to the last 8 of this tournament. And the winner of this game will take on the winner of Dudbridge and Jenkins from later on tonight. An interesting part of the draw with 4 Englishmen. In the commentary box, we have a Dutchman. It is my esteemed honour to bring in Co Stumpy for this game. Co, it's brilliant to have you with us.
Well, thank you for inviting me. I mean, it's a great honour to be here as well. So, looking forward to this game and working with you here in the commentary box.
Yes. Yes, thanks for your time this afternoon. Give your insight into what it's been like to play on that stage.
But it was exciting to do the walk-on and relive what I'd done. It was like a trip down memory lane, to be honest. I didn't feel comfortable, but I still enjoyed it, though.
What do you think about this tribute shirt from Kevin? Because Eric meant a lot to him, of course, during his career, and to a lot of people, but in an event like this, to wear that shirt in an important match like this, it obviously is something premeditated by Kevin.
Yeah,
and he may have to have some patience in this game because of the kind of game that Dennis Harbour's going to bring.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, there's a lot of difference between these 2 players, to be honest. I mean, Kevin, the most experienced player, very much more than Dennis, but still a dangerous opponent, Dennis is. He can still throw a good dart.
Did you get a chance to see how good Dennis was against Trina Gulliver in the first round?
I sadly missed that game because I was like on the road coming down here. But I know him from the early days in the BDO Lakeside and all that. And he was always a dangerous opponent, very consistent in his game. Always somewhere near around the 90-95 averages, which is, as we can tell here, what we've seen so far this week, is a very good standard. If he managed to bring that on. But, having said that, Kevin Painter, much more experienced than Dennis.
When you think about Dennis Harbour, we can go all the way back in his career to when he broke through, which you could say it was 1987 when he made his first appearance at a World Masters. And it doesn't take him long to get his first maximum. Now, with the equipment that he's got, Cole, that short, bulbous barrel, it's pretty difficult to get those 180s with those bits of equipment, isn't it?
Yeah, you should expect somebody who plays with these kind of darts to get longer points, so there's more room left in the treble. But he's quite capable of doing it, as he's shown just now. But it's a pretty normal dart that he uses. You know, always got the same grip. You can't put your finger too much backwards or in the front. It's a short barrel, so you always got the same grip. You don't have to look for the way he was holding him.
With Kevin, he's been tinkering a bit lately with different barrels, different stems and flight combinations. And the biggest difference that I've seen with Kevin lately is that he has this barrel here in 2 different types. One is a smooth tungsten with normal ring grip on it. But he also has another dart that looks the same, but it has a bit of knurled grip on it as well for other occasions where he feels like he needs a bit of extra aggressive grip. He's maintaining the smoother tungsten this week because it seems to be working. Good start from Dennis Harbour here.
Yeah, he's left himself 68. He's got a good chance here. I mean, Kevin started this game, and to be honest, he can be in trouble straight away for the first set if Dennis can take his 68 out. He's in 48 now. double 16 to take the first leg away from Kevin Painter.
52.
Not a chance for Painter.
I mean, you require 127.
Should really get a shot at the ball. Might not. And doesn't. So Harbour comes back for a first leg break. Early signs that Painter is going to have to be really patient in this game. It's something that everybody talks about when it comes to Harbour, because he is one of the slower players. What we shouldn't forget is how good he is. That's what makes this game really tough for Kevin.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, there is a lot of difference between the players. Like the highest average ever recorded for Dennis Taylor, Dennis Harbour is like 95-13. Kevin Painter 104. But that doesn't count for everything.
You see more players these days, Cole, averaging at their very best over 110. But I don't think we should be looking at those kind of windows in this tournament. If you can put in what Robert Thornton did last night, something in the low 90s, you are going to trouble pretty much everybody in this tournament.
Oh yeah, that's absolutely for sure. I mean, let's be honest. We just mentioned Dennis being the least experienced player here. Already got 2 180s in the board in 2 legs.
Couple of wins on the youth tour over the last couple of years.
Played a brilliant game as well.
Because he was so good on the Challenge Tour last year, he actually played in half a dozen of these events as well, making up the numbers.
We'll see Mark Dudbridge
he went out in round
a little bit later on
for 5 of them.
In tonight's session,
he did win his
got games
game,
like Robert Thornton versus Scott Mitchell.
Kevin a bit annoyed.
So can he repeat the trick?
Not for the first time,
no,
but not usually getting annoyed in the early part of a game. It's usually when a game materialises 2, 3, 4 sets in, he starts to wonder what's going wrong and he tries to fix it, but this is only leg 2.
Yeah, but he's kind of player like Andy Jenkins, who we just saw. He wants every time a 140, a 180, or something like that, at least a ton. If he doesn't get it, he starts moaning to himself. And as you mentioned, he's changing darts, trying everything else. Yeah, he's walking slow, really back.
He's just been looking at Dennis Harbour's shoes. I don't know what kind of shoes Dennis is wearing, but they must be really nice. It's got nothing to do with the shoes, folks. It's got everything to do with the pace of the game. And this is something that Kevin knew about well before this match began.
Yeah, but you know, so why you get annoyed already so early in the game? You're doing yourself wrong. I mean, especially when you start changing darts and you lost your confidence, haven't you? I mean, you don't know what you need to play well. And we already see the signs here with Kevin.
Who was the most deliberate or, dare I say it, slow player that you've ever played against in your career?
Oh, Justin Pipe. Justin Pipe, no doubt about that.
43.
Kevin did have some battles with Justin in his career, and one time at the World Grand Prix nearly came to blows. That was an interesting game to say the least, and this one...
For 2-0.
It really should be 2-0. That's a lovely guide for Dennis. Is that slightly better? Can he bump this one in? You bet he can. 2-0 Harbour in the first set, causing problems for the artist.
He has to take this leg to stay in the set, his own set. You don't want to lose the first set, especially if you started the match.
Oh, we have some Painter fans out there. I do believe those 2 ladies have had some of the best fancy dress this week. They've been dressed as owls, painters, and all sorts of other things, I'm sure, in their locker.
There wasn't much paint on the plate, so let's let that be a sign.
66.
Just while we have an opportunity, Cole, we know we spoke briefly about your playing on the stage yesterday. It was thoroughly enjoyable watching you play against John. But are you fully aware, or were you fully aware before playing that game last night, of the fan base that you have in the UK, especially coming into this tournament?
No, not at all, because you know, you have to wear wristbands to come in to go to the different areas in the venue. And she says, no, you can do it without your player. I says, yeah, but not everybody will recognize me. Well, I was wrong there.
125.
I was absolutely wrong there. It was a big shock to me, but very welcome.
And what are your plans going forward? Would you like to have another go at this? Seniors darts throughout 2023? Is it something that you'd like to qualify for things like the match play and the Masters as well?
Yeah, I spoke with my son about it, and he said that you should go and do this tour and try to qualify yourself. And yeah, we made up our mind. I'm going to start doing them in March.
Your son's a pretty good player, isn't he?
Yeah, he used to be a lot better, because he's got a decent job nowadays. He makes a good earning and a decent living. So darts has become a bit more slow, and now he's picking it up again. So yeah, we can practice together. We do everything together on the darts.
And you do a bit of broadcasting yourself in the Netherlands as well with some of our Dutch compatriots.
Yeah, not just a bit. Just can fairly say a lot. Maybe Kevin gets his 180 here. Yeah, he does. Keeps him in leg. Yeah, I do a lot of work for Fair Play.
Wow, you brought the trophy. He looks a bit more cheered up after Thursday. Maybe you just got to take that everywhere you go, David. That, he looks really nice. Still yours for a few months yet. There's a little bit of motivation for you. Seeing that trophy so close up.
Absolutely is.
140.
This is a beautiful trophy as well.
Kevin, you require 8.
That's the thing about World Seniors. The trophies are absolutely incredible. Double 4. Do not miss this, 6. Kevin, because Harbour could steal set number 1 to love.
It's not going to build your confidence when Dennis does. Losing the first set 3-0 is not what you want.
And where's the single going to land? Got plenty of room over the top of this one. For the top of the shop.
50.
That was close. That was
Kevin
really close.
2.
All the pressure for Kevin now, because double 1, you don't want to go inside with your first dart. What should you do? That's a good marker. That's even a better marker. Gotta go in.
No score.
How did it not? I think he threw that third dart thinking there's no way this is going to miss. But unfortunately for him, it did. And Harbour now has 3 clean set darts at double 10. He's back up top. That's 2 set darts gone.
Oh.
And that means he doesn't get a 4th. All he can do is lay up for 2s.
Another chance for Kevin he didn't expect to get. Double 1 again. Maybe that's a better marker for him. It is.
The facial expressions from Painter are a gift in themselves.
We know them so well. We've seen them so often. Unbelievable.
I saw him this morning coming to the venue in plenty of time. Always immaculate. Never a hair out of place. Shiniest shoes on tour. Trousers always at the right length and freshly pressed. But I've got to mention this shirt today. It's wonderful, isn't it? Just paying tribute to Eric Bristow. And he's worn it at the Motor Super Series as well. And it does give him just a little bit of extra motivation. And I do believe that those shirts are available to purchase as well. And you can see the 5 stars on the left side of his chest, signifying each of Eric's world titles.
What a legend that man was.
I don't really want to make Dennis feel too old, but the last time Eric Bristow won a world title was 1986. And Harbour first graced the World Masters in 87. Not that far apart.
Not that far apart, no. Well, he never made that career that Eric did. And I mean, I was fortunate enough to spend a week in Dubai with Eric and Bobby George.
100.
Great character. When you watched him play darts, that's why he was named the Crafty Cockney. You always thought, like, he must be a miserable guy, but he was so much fun to be around with. He just spoke his mind. That's the only thing he's done. Just said what he thought.
Yeah, we live in a very different era now, don't we?
Yeah, you can't say nothing anymore, can
and
you?
100.
We do have a lot of dart players these days who are very vocal on social media, and Kevin loves a bit of Twitter, especially when Ipswich Town, his beloved football team, are playing. Whenever Ipswich lose, 100. I tend to switch my Twitter off for a couple of hours because it's usually full of Kevin Painter, Keith Della, Ryan Meikle tweets.
Brilliant, isn't it? It's brilliant.
Whereas Dennis Harbour's more old school. You don't see him doing a great deal of social media. He lets his darts do the talking.
55.
I just wonder, you know, these darts that he's using,
I don't think they
How
make them
old
anymore.
are they?
They don't make them anymore.
I wonder if they're the same darts he was using in 1987.
Looks like it. Just a few grams lighter then, but...
140.
Kevin's been with a few manufacturers over his career.
Well, Dennis, he's on the 151 here. Might have a chance. He gets this one, treble 17. Or double 20. So a good opportunity for Kevin Painter now. Coming back at 78 to level up the set.
91.
He can start to
Kevin
feel back of this set.
78.
Or still hold this set then.
Just imagine if he can get through this set with a win, he will feel like a giant. There's that upturned smile, that determination from the snarling artist as he goes for tops. That little pause before he goes for it,
38.
but doesn't hit it. And Harbour gets another set chance.
60.
Doesn't want to leave that 20 too high in the board. It would block the double 20 for him. It's a bit high. He has to move to the side.
The previous time he had this shot, he didn't have to move. Double 10. He's racking up these set chances
40.
and isn't taking them.
Kevin, you require 40.
Kevin Painter is like a cat right now. He's using up lives.
He's winding himself up. Getting ready for this double 20. Good marker.
Game shot the fourth.
A little bit of spirit there from the artist as well. Nothing wrong with that. And we talked about 1987 being the year where we first got a little look at Dennis Harbour. 10 years after that, 1997. Here, that was the year that Eric Bristow had that famous semi-final with Phil Taylor. And since then, I can honestly say I've never seen Phil Taylor so nervous as that semi-final against Eric.
That was a brilliant match, wasn't it? It held everything.
It had Taylor, it had Bristow, it had the right commentators, it had the atmosphere that it was so thick in
100.
here with pyrotechnics and smoke and sweat and everything. I can't even imagine what it was like in here back in that
Let's not
day.
forget, I think it was this stage when Kevin Painter played the final against Phil Taylor where he could have won.
2004.
There you go.
You see the reaction of Painter when that final double 5 went in for Phil Taylor, and he was exhausted and devastated at the same time. He genuinely thought that that was his year.
41.
He had to wait another 7 years to get that elusive PDC major title after he beat Mark Webster in Doncaster. And he gave us one of the
83.
most coined lines of a winning speech. I think it went something like this. Have some of that, Pikey son. He was talking to Stuart Pike because apparently leading up to that tournament he'd been given a bit of stick by some of the pundits, and he said, look at me, I've actually won
100.
one.
As you do get as a player, you know that we all have had it, and that's quite all right. You know, just happens. Well, Painter in the driver's seat here to take the first set. Who would have thought that 2 legs ago?
What kind of effect is this going to have on Dennis if he loses this first set after having so many shots for it?
It's all on the player. I was 2-0 down in the first set yesterday, won it 3-2, and I still was useless afterwards.
He's not going to give you much of an indication as to how he's feeling.
Normally it should do. Normally, especially when you're 2-0 down and you win
Kevin,
that
you
set
require
3-2. Normally you get a boost
120.
out of it. You're going to start playing better. You're going to start feeling more comfortable on the stage. That didn't happen yesterday. It wasn't John starting to play better. 120 here for the set.
Game
There
shot
it
the
is.
first set.
Well, what have we got on our hands here? He was fancied to win the match, and we said he's going to have to be patient. He gets one set dart. Dennis Harbour had tons. He couldn't hit, Kevin could. That's darts in a nutshell, and it's 1-0 Painter.
And it's the difference in experience, to be honest. And so much more experience for Kevin. He's been in this situation so often. He knows how to deal with it.
I mentioned at the start of the match as well that Kevin has been not so much a nomad in England as to where he's lived over his life, but he's predominantly been in the Essex, Cambridgeshire, Warwickshire area, which is pretty much up the M11 motorway towards the M6. Currently residing in the lovely town of Rugby, but prior to living in Warwickshire, he lived in a place in Cambridgeshire, which is Dennis's stomping ground. So I'm sure they've run into each other in plenty of the Opens and county matches over the years.
County matches, league games. Oh yeah, for sure.
100.
They know each other very well. But all that doesn't count as soon as you go these kind of stages. You know, it's a totally different game. It's not the same when you play a league game or a county game. It's totally different. The experience, the atmosphere, the crowd, the light, the cameras, your fans, your family sitting there.
100.
And they've both played for England as well at different times in their career. And I always remember a match that Kevin played around just over 20 years ago.
46.
England were playing against Wales, and I think it might have been around the time that you were playing for the Netherlands court, where Kevin played a guy called Kelvin Painter.
Yeah, I remember the guy, yeah.
Yeah, there was only an L between them in spelling. And I thought it was really interesting, and Kelvin actually won that game.
90
I've never asked Kevin about it, but I'm sure he probably hated losing to someone who had a name very close to his.
Yeah, he probably asked him afterwards, so you think you're the next Kevin Painter then? I mean, that's what Kevin can be like, you know, and he loses.
That would be confusing, wouldn't it, if you had two top players with the same name? Imagine if there was another Phil Taylor came through. He'd have to put something else on the name, like, we know that Philip Taylor is Philip D. Taylor, because his middle name is Douglas.
99.
Yeah, but there's never going
Dennis
to be a player again who's going to win
106.
16 world titles. Never.
Nope. We've had a lot of world title holders in the building this week. We've had Rhiannon Evans, the 12-time ladies snooker champion, and Trina Gulliver, 10 times ladies champion. Ashton yesterday, 4-time ladies champion. It's great to see so many world-class players and title holders in the same building.
98.
Now, Painter was jumping
Kevin
for joy
Uruguay,
at the end of set 1.
156.
This would make him jump again.
Not this time around.
This is an interesting thought process for Kevin, because I think he's getting used to the pace of this game. He's going through a lot of water, which is not a bad thing because it's good for clarity of thought and energy. But later on tonight, we've got the current champion Robert Thornton against Scott Mitchell, who has got the same sort of task against a very patient player.
Yep, absolutely. And we know Robert Thornton, he's not very well known about his patience. You know, he really wants to go on and carry on with the job and do what he needs to do.
100.
So he'll probably start looking around and looking at people and thinking like, oh, come on. But it's Scott's natural game, so you can't take that away from him. Well, speaking about these doubles, in no doubles, it's been a while he hit a double. I remember one comment that Eric Bristow made, as we spoke about Eric, in the commentary box.
125.
And it was like, not a very good game, a lot of missed doubles. And that player, I can't remember who it was, went for 2 doubles, and he was like, hi, you can't hit 1, let alone 2. Why would you do that?
That sounds like Eric, actually.
60.
We do see a lot more players these days going for 2 doubles to convert a leg. And we saw that yesterday from Lisa Ashton, who had 32 left and mistakenly hit a double here, but then got another one after.
She played well, didn't she?
She did. I think she'll feel quite disappointed this morning that she's not still in the tournament, but you have to give Neil Duff a lot of credit. He played superbly.
He did, but let's be honest, I think she was unlucky with the draw. There was a lot of players she would have beaten.
I think that's one of the reasons why players like Ashton and others are probably thinking, that if I get back in next year and the draws may be a little bit kinder, I will have a great chance of making the Sunday, where there will be the quarterfinals tomorrow, all best of 5 sets again. Then the semi-finals will take place a little bit later in the day, and the final will be best of 9 sets to conclude this championship on Sunday night.
Are we going to have a repeat from the first set, where Dennis Harbour goes up 2-0 in the set?
Does he want to go for that 60? Because that second dart is dangling there.
140.
He got away with
Dennis
it.
to require 36.
Double 18 for Dennis. Go 2-0 up in this set.
Next door to double 4, and that was pretty good in leg number 1. Getting there. Doesn't want to give Kevin a look at 82. And does take another 2-0 lead. Can he close it out in set 2? He does have the darts.
Third leg, it's Dennis to throw first.
Oh, really?
Game on.
Kevin did not move 1 millimetre there.
Dennis didn't realise, oh, I have the throw.
Well, Kevin does that, doesn't he?
Yeah, he
I
does.
don't know whether you've actually played him in floor events away from the cameras, where he loses a leg like that, where he threw first, and he then has to wait for you to throw first.
Yeah.
He will stand
24.
exactly where he is.
Yeah, he won't move.
He won't move an inch. It means you have to go around him.
Yeah.
It's posturing in the playing area. It's perfectly allowed.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. He's doing nothing wrong.
I saw some Phil Taylor shirts out there. I think those Taylor fans and Phil himself will be quite relieved today.
Yeah, there was a game, was it, last night? One match starts against.
41.
Did you think that Colin McGarry was going to take out that 160 checkout to win?
No, but he had a chance. Well, we've seen it in the previous game, 1-4-2.
140.
Now Kevin can open his shoulders a bit, because the pressure goes back to Dennis. And if he does get a 2-0 lead in sets after being 2-0 down in both sets, Painter's going to feel superhuman. He will feel that there's nothing he can't bridge.
Yeah, but Dennis Harbour won't have it. There you go. His third. 180 after match.
You can see those 180 cards out there, Co. They're shaped like dart flights. Are you tempted to get a couple, put them together and maybe use them as big flights?
Maybe to stay in the board a bit longer. Or go to the better places.
Yeah, there was a lot of attention yesterday on social media about your dart shirt, because you are famously someone who wears long sleeves.
Right.
And people were loving the design yesterday, by the way.
Yeah, they were just made. They came in 4 days ago. So they were just in time finished for me to bring them over.
100.
I had 3 made of them.
Kevin, you
Maybe after
require
this I'll get some new ones made.
161.
But yeah, they're really nice, aren't they?
I think you'd have some takers for the ones that you have, if you do want to get rid of them. Kevin Painter is not going to take the 161, but he does lay up well.
Still a chance for Dennis.
156.
2 trebles in the double 18 is the only way it goes. 2 treble 20s. There's no other way.
Correct. There are a few shots where there's only one way. And the lowest check out of the lot, 2. There's only one way to get that. There's only one way to get 3.
3 as well.
And there are some others as well.
100.
Pressure
Kevin,
on this double 12 for Kevin.
24.
Was that a smile I saw?
Yeah, well, that came too early.
I think he thought the double 12 was in. It really wasn't. Double 4. And Kevin can smile now.
Kevin Painter.
So he's got the darts in the 4th leg. It's going to be interesting, this.
Kevin to throw first. Game on.
What is it Apollo Creed said in Rocky 4? Some folks got to do it the hard way. And he seems like he's doing it the hard way.
Twice Dennis Harbour has been 2-0 up in this set. Now Kevin is looking to level this set.
Just thinking about Kevin's career for a moment. He's done a lot in his career. He's played all over the world.
Yes.
In Asia, America. He's been down under for some exhibitions with Jamie Caven to some clubs that I know very well. Been all over Europe. Do you think he's happy with what he's achieved in his career, or do you think that there are some things that he would dearly love to have done? I know everybody wants to be a world champion, but do you think at this stage he's actually very happy with how his career panned out?
I think where he came from and all what he's done in his career, I think he would have loved to have a few more titles because he deserved them. He was such a good player. He was so consistent.
60.
He made the other player play poorer than they normally do due to his presence, just his presence, like Phil does.
139.
You can't see players playing brilliant and then play Phil Taylor or Kevin Painter, and they play a lot less.
With some dart players, what you see is what you get, and with Dennis Harbour, what you see is what you get.
Yeah, that's it.
He's just a great player, doesn't say much, but with Kevin, he has levels. He's one of those dart players who's made me laugh so hard I cried. He has a great sense of humour, but I think even he would admit that sometimes he has grumpy days.
Oh, oh, I've had some experience with him over that when I beat him in the game or something. Oh, he wasn't too happy.
If you beat him, maybe leave him alone for a couple of days.
Yeah, but I didn't do that. No, I went straight to him, went straight after him. Have some of this. Not in a bad way, but because you know he's grumpy. And after this finish, I'll tell you a little story, an experience I had with him.
Well, that's coming up because, look, Kevin Painter's a double 12 again. Last time he had a 9. He's on 3s this time. Well, he can't bust it and go back to 12s.
That's what he done. Exactly what he done. Rightfully so. 245 or whatever, so he's going nowhere.
The last thing you want to do in that spot is go for the double 3 and cut it in half.
Yeah, exactly.
Leave yourself on 3. That's a horrible shot.
Probably get a high one and then block the double one.
100. Kevin, you require
Return for 24. 3 darts again he's got for it.
That's a bit too safe. That's a little bit of a better marker.
No score.
He's getting that sinking feeling because if Harbour can find this 145, they will leave the stage for a period of 3 or 4 minutes. And it's still on. Don't look, Kevin. Now you can look.
That was close.
105.
Really nice
Kevin
approach.
24.
And Painter's had 2 visits at double 12.
Well, 3-time lucky, they say, so he should go in.
James Shaw, the 4th leg.
He's doing it again. He was 2-0 down in set 1. He won it. He was 2-0 down in set 2. But now, in leg number 5 of this set, he must break Dennis Harbour, who towards the end of that previous leg was starting to put something together. Did you say that you had a Kevin Painter story up your sleeve, Cor?
Yeah, we was playing in Eindhoven. Just picked up in Holland. I think it was 99 or something.
60.
And we played in a massive venue. And I've played Painter on the stage and I beat him. It was quite a good game. But as he does when he's grumpy after he loses, he sits in the back room and
100.
moaning and all that. But I was still with all the adrenaline and excitement in me, and I was speaking to his father, and he says, "Yeah, well, I was cheering on the crowd." And he went mental. "You were cheering on the crowd whilst I was throwing," and he went totally mental. And his dad goes like, calm down, son." That's when I thought, like, all right, that's what it takes. That's what you get. Not in a mean way, but just to show him I'm here as well.
Here were the days. The late 90s, a very strong time on both sides of the darting divide.
140.
There is no division in World Seniors. Anybody's welcome. And Painter, with that brilliant 140, has taken a half-dart lead.
This is a crucial moment for Dennis Harbour. He needs to answer that 140 from Kevin. That's a very loose dart, that is. He needs the extra treble. He doesn't get it, so open doors for Kevin here.
This is where you want to leave that 1-2-1, which is a makeable out.
Yeah, but you don't want to think now while you're throwing, I need the 140, I need a ton at least, I need that treble. Because now he's got no finish. Now the doors are open for Dennis again.
I would not want to play Dennis Harbour at cards. I can't read him at all. He is the same whether it's the start of the match or if he's on a match dart.
60.
Only 60, and Kevin Painter maybe, even though he's not on the finish and Dennis is, maybe Kevin's the favourite.
This is the moment where they all start thinking, you know, this is such an important moment for both players. One to go 2-0 up and the other one to make it 1 level. This is a brilliant dart.
Dennis to require 160.
Well, we've seen it yesterday. Missed by a margin.
Can Dennis get set 2? There's your answer, and the first show of any emotion from the man from Cambridgeshire. And Painter, who loves to leave double 16 historically in his career, recently has been going for tops a bit more.
122.
But if I was to pitch my tent on this shot, I'd say surely it's going to be double 16.
Well, one is next to tops, so makes more sense, but he goes for the double 16, as you said. Takes his time.
He's gone for his old friend, the 32. Double 8. That close to winning set 2, to be 2-0 up. He might have to go off the stage after this and figure out how he can win another set, because Harbour's going to split this and he's going to go for double 14. I think that's exactly what he wanted. What a marker that is.
You can't miss this one.
But he does.
Oh, this was so close. Again, double 4 for Kevin.
Kevin, you require 8.
I'll tell you, these guys, their heart rates are going up right now. This is such an important moment.
Hence the breathing from Painter. Very clever there, that long exhale.
Yeah.
That's a really good way to slow your heart rate down. It's okay, Jane. That's Kevin's partner.
Miles away.
But he does hit it. And he does take the 2-0 lead. Wow, you can breathe now, Jane. And so can Kevin for a period of 3 or 4 minutes, because they're about to leave the stage, and we will leave the coverage for a period of 3 or 4 minutes, with Painter leading 2-0. Thanks for joining us once again. It is 2-0 to Kevin Painter in sets. It is rather miraculous that it is 2-0 to Kevin Painter, because this man was 2-0 up in both sets, in legs. Incredible. But it's now very much advantage Painter. The asset Paul Nicholson here with Co Stumpy for the second match of the last 16. And Painter is going to be starting this third set, and potentially the fifth if he needs it.
Well, should it come that far? Doesn't look like it. Seems to me that Dennis Harman just doesn't want to win this set. He's been 2 up twice, 2-0 up, and he couldn't manage to pull one through.
I've had an interesting question on social media, actually, which I'm going to bring up because it gives a lot of clarity as to why we have the field that we do. Someone called Spaniel has got in touch with us asking what they say is maybe an obvious question to a lot of other people, but it does explain why these guys can play and some others can't. This is the Seniors World Darts Championship for everybody over the age of 50, and Spaniel is asking, why do PDC tour card holders not have the option of playing in this event, as opposed to someone like Neil Duff, who is someone from the WDF system? Well, it's pretty easy, because if you are a PDC tour card holder, you are prohibited from playing in other televised events or streamed events without the express permission of the PDC, their chosen home. These guys are basically freelance.
Yeah, that's mainly what it is. They refer nowadays as the WDF players as being the amateurs.
60.
But believe me, there were some good competitive players in there, as we can see here this week. But yeah, that's the main reason. It's also prohibited for doing exhibitions which holds more than 4 PDC players tour card holders.
They are the rules, and the rules that they will stand by when they get their tour cards. That's something that Kevin is not looking to get back. He says he's done with that system and he wants to focus on this and the Motor Super Series, which he's played in a few times, and he is getting used to that system as well. He did make it to a weekly final at the start of the year, but lost out to Matt Clark, who actually lost out in the Champions Night last Saturday.
Yeah, but still a good player, Matt Clark is. I mean, he's done his things in the past, didn't he? Yeah, I can imagine what Kevin is about. He feels comfortable with this.
59.
I mean, let's be honest, look at the standard of play nowadays on the Pro Tour and all that. It's unreal. If you don't hit 105 average, you won't win.
Kevin might win the first leg of a set for a change. Does he know how to win a set after being 1-0 up? Well, we'll have to find out maybe with his next visit. Harbour is in a bit of trouble, and he's averaging more than Kevin in this match, around 87 compared to Kevin's 83, but stats sometimes can lie.
The most reliable stats are the finish percentages. That's what win games.
45. Kevin, you require 40.
Shirley.
Don't call him Shirley. He doesn't like it. He really doesn't like being called Shirley. But surely, yeah. It has been a bit of a running joke over the years, and I'm sure Kevin won't mind me telling this, because I have been good friends with him for years. Because there was a little picture that circulated saying he looked like Shirley from a soap opera in England called EastEnders. And he does laugh about it now. I don't think he did at the time. He's more of a Gavin and Stacey kind of guy. But he's showing a lot of focus in this match, a lot of patience, which I have to say is not his most
100
shining quality. He's all about being a fierce competitor and going for the throat in matches, but he's been tested today and he's come out shining. He's done really well.
Oh, absolutely, especially coming back from 2-0 down each set before. Brilliant stuff. Because normally he's not the most patient player, is he? When he goes in his mind, he really goes.
He likes to dictate the pace of the game.
Oh yeah, he's the aggressor.
Usually he's the one who is the slower of the two, because when he's playing a fast person, he knows how to dictate the pace on the stage. But in this game, it was always going to be Dennis who dictated the pace, and I think Kevin's handled it really well after maybe the first couple of legs where it took him a bit of time to realise how slow it was going to be.
Yeah, it took him 2 legs. And then he realised, oh, now we get some emotion from Dennis.
I think he's getting a bit frustrated now.
100.
And if he's getting frustrated with only 100, that's actually a good sign.
Yeah, but he's trailing in his own leg, which he can't afford to lose. Because I don't think if Kevin Painter is going to lead 2-0 in a set, he's going to lose that set.
137.
You wouldn't think so, being the aggressor that he is. And if he can maintain that kind of average, mid-80s, it might just carry him through, not only to the last 8 of this tournament, but maybe just a little bit further than last year. He did make the last 4, and he had big designs on the trophy last year after beating Phil Taylor.
Of course he did, yeah. But I think still in 204 he wanted to beat Phil more than last year.
One of these days, Kevin will write a book about his career, and it will take me less than 24 hours to read it. It will be an enthralling read, talking about that 2004 final, the times he played for England in the 90s, the time where he had a very big mullet when he was hanging out with Bob Taylor in the 90s.
Bob Taylor.
What a haircut that was.
It's a good score though from Dennis. So I would advise Kevin to take this one out, which he really wants to.
Take Cole's advice, Kevin. Take it out. You heard the man. Advice taken. Now we can see if Kevin can win from 2-0 up,
well,
as opposed to 2-0 down.
In the previous match you mentioned about superstition. If he doesn't win this set, next time he will let him 2-0 go up. He will let him go 2-0 up.
Well, if he does win this leg, job done. And maximum rest going into what could be a very long day tomorrow. Quarter-finals, semi-finals and final. That's a really long schedule, isn't it?
Oh yeah, we can see that in certain events already, and those are young guys. And these guys, as we all know, are a little bit older. It's really hard. You need to spread your energy throughout the day, which is going to be hard for some of them.
100.
Painter might be thinking that 15 darts is good enough to take the match in this leg. And that really needs at least 1 big treble per visit.
I would say, I think 18 would be enough. 18 darts with 85 average should do the trick.
18 darts is somewhere between 82 and 84, which is very symptomatic of what you've seen in this match throughout.
Yeah, but if you take it out in 18, which means your opponent only gets 15 darts, so you put some pressure on him to get a 100 average leg. Which we haven't seen much today, so...
Best performance so far in the tournament, the existing champion, Robert Thornton, 93.6. This is a tremendous leg from the artist.
136 after 9. Brilliant.
Average is climbing. And
He's 180.
This is a better performance than he had in his first round match, which wasn't that bad at all. He just knows how to negotiate these rounds, doesn't he? 3-0 against Ronnie Baxter. Funnily enough, averaging very close to what he's doing right now.
Well, it does the job. 136. Well, he needs all the energy tomorrow.
60.
Still a few nerves out there for Team Painter.
It's for them a lot harder than for the player. I've noticed last night.
It is. I've supported friends in audiences, and trust me when I say this, and Cole's just backed me up. It's very hard to support because you've got no influence at all. If you're the player, you have all the power to make it happen, and maybe that is the final dart that Harbour will throw in this tournament.
6 darts on the 76 for Kevin Painter to go to the quarterfinals. It's the second player.
Howson went through against Jenkins. Does Painter get through right here?
56.
He'll have to wait.
Not yet, but he'll get another chance on double 10. I could hear my wife Danielle last night over the crowd, so I knew how hard it was on her. And I just went, calm down.
You've got enough on your plate on the stage trying to win a match.
Yeah.
Never mind trying to calm the crowd down.
Having required
Well, don't
20.
calm down, Kev. Just hit double 10 and sail through. Double 5 is hit, and he wins in straight sets. But believe me, it doesn't feel like that. He was very patient to win that one in 3 sets, and he still hasn't dropped a set in this tournament. A little bit later on, he will find out who he will play, because Mark Dudbridge and Terry Jenkins will play it a little bit later on. But as for Painter, he's through. And that tribute shirt to Eric Bristow, there was a man on his back, but maybe he had an angel on his shoulder as well.
Ooh. Hello, Mr. Painter.
Oh, hi, Helen.
Yes, I think you approached that game really well because you slowed your game down rather than trying to speed Dennis up.
Yeah, well, you can't speed a slow player up, can you? So it was difficult. It was difficult. I mean, Dennis caused me a few problems in the first 2 sets, and I got away with it a little bit there. You know, could have lost at least 1, maybe 2 of them sets. So, but there's a bit of fight there. When you're 2-0 down in a set, you know, sometimes you think you've lost, but I don't do that sort of stuff. So I knew I needed 3 legs on the trot in both sets. So yeah.
I was saying to Richie Howson's game was very similar. The difference between going in at the break 2-0 up and 1-1, it's a dart. But Dennis missed, then you missed, then Dennis missed, and then you hit it. It's such a pressure shot.
Yeah, it's massive. Obviously, when we went out the back there after I was 2-0 up, I could see Dennis was a bit like down. So I needed to come out there and win my set comfortably there. But no, like, as I say, I didn't play as well as I thought I was going to do, to be honest with you. Listen, it's difficult to play, trying to get around. Dennis is a slow player. I'm not knocking the, you know, but you have to adjust your own game.
I was watching you, and I wasn't sure if you were staring at your own very shiny shoes quite a lot, because you stepped back and you did go into a little your own focus.
Yeah, well, I've got my own routine where I like to focus. You like my shiny shoes.
Good shoes.
Yeah, but I've got my own routine, you know, and it's no good standing there just waiting, so I'm backwards and forwards to the table. As long as it doesn't affect the player that you're playing, you can do what you want behind the thing. So I was happy with the outcome.
I think you're going to want more from yourself next round, though. You're going to want some more bigger scores and bigger checkouts.
Yeah, of course. I'm not overly impressed with my performance there. You know, listen, I won that game through fight, and you have to add that. There's a lot of players that haven't got that, and they lose because of that. I win a lot of games because I've got the fight in me, and when you're 2-0 down in the first set, I won that. 2-0 down the second set, I won that. There's not many players that can do that. There's, you know, so I've got to give myself a pat on the back now and again for that, you know.
All right, and we'll give you a pat on the back as well. Kevin Painter, ladies and gentlemen, through to the quarterfinals. Thank you very much, Kevin. We'll see him in the next round. We'll see you after this short break.
Welcome back to the Circus Tavern. Kevin Painter has just won through to the quarter-finals of the Seniors World Darts Championship. Dennis Harbour is bowing out of the tournament, and Bobby George is watching all the action. Match by match, we're making progress. It was a bit of a grind. Kevin just did exactly what he had to do.
Well, he had the patience. He didn't get excited. He just threw his darts, walked back, looked at the floor. But you don't like playing people like that, obviously. But he was lucky, really, because Dennis should have been 2 sets to 0 up, and then he would have been banging trouble. But Dennis didn't hit the doubles. Then he started hitting the doubles, and then when you get the 2 up in sets, then you can beat the guy up. It's easier. You know, and he played a lot better last set.
Yeah, you're right, Bobby. It's risky, isn't it? If you're 2 down in the first 2 sets, and okay, great, you come back and win those 2 sets, but that's risky, because if it goes the other way, maybe that just rocks your confidence a little bit.
You want your mummy then, see? you get back, you think, oh, I'm in trouble here.
Kevin reached the semi-finals in 2 of the seniors TV majors last year, and when we hear him talking to Helen after the game, you can see the fire, you can see the drive, you can see the determination. And I always think he comes into these tournaments as a potential winner, just getting over that extra little hurdle. Semi-finals last year.
He's always been a good player, I know him since really young. But that's the way he is. He's the same all the time. He never changes. He wants to get on with the game. He doesn't seem to aim. He just throws his darts. He just and worries about the outcome off. He's let them go.
Now, Bob, the next match is Keith Deller against Neil Duff. Now, Neil is the reigning WDF world champion, and Keith is the world champion from 40 years ago. 40 years ago. Now, the match is going to get going any minute, but I just want to talk to you first about Chalkgate. Chalkgate, Keith puts lots of chalk on his darts. It ends up all over his face. It ends up on the board. And there's a debate developing as to whether this is right. Some people are suggesting that chalk should be outlawed. Does it impact your opponent?
Well, it does, yeah. I've played Keith before, and he's got the... If you don't like the chalk on your hands, and it's on the board, it's only minute chalk. You don't see the colour of it all the time. You take the darts out, and it's on your fingers, and it's too slippery for you. Now, Keith, he doesn't want to... He likes a slippery dart, but he goes over the top with the chalk. It's a bit naughty.
Would you ban it?
Well, yeah. Well, what are you going to do? After every leg, brush the dart.
Well, for this match coming up now, the referee has been given has been given the opportunity at the break after 2 sets. If he feels like the board needs to be cleaned, he will do that, and he can do that. But you can see the chalk all over the board, but you could yesterday in Keith's game. I'm just wondering whether this will get to a level where no one complains. Mike Huntley didn't complain. I don't hear many people complaining, but we're all talking about it. Should it be banned?
Well, they don't complain, but they say, even all that chalk over the dart, well, they don't like it. He used to have a big block of chalk once, but I think you can buy chalk that doesn't dust up as much as that. So he's a better grip for... He don't like the grip. He does the same as that chalk. That one dusts right up, and I think he goes over the top of it, to be honest with you.
Chalkgate to be resolved. Next match about to get going. Back to Paul Starr.
Welcome to the party, ladies and gentlemen. We are live from Purfleet at the Circus Tavern. Of course, this is the stage where legends played and dart and history was made. It's the last 16 stage of the Jensbet World Seniors Darts Championship, and we are ready. The players are ready, and it's tungsten time! And now from Ballyclare in Northern Ireland, he's the WDF reigning world champion. Please welcome the Duffman, Neil Duff!
Let's get ready to
Suffolk in England. Can you please welcome the 1983 champion of the world? It's Mr. 138 himself. He's Cowboy. He is Keith Deller!
Game number 3 of the last 16 then, and judging by the walk-on music, things are about to get Deller. He's up against the current WDF World Champion, picked up that title last April, and by the end of this weekend, Neil Duff could potentially have 2 world titles around his waist, so to speak. But he's going to have to go through the champion of the world from 40 years ago to make the final day of this championship on his debut. But he's already been tested by Lisa Ashton yesterday. That was a fabulous game of darts. But Mr. 138, who not many people fancy to make it this far, including myself, I will admit that, but sometimes we get it wrong. Some people thought that Lisa Ashton may have been too strong for the Duff man, but he was strong enough to make this stage of the tournament. I'm Paul the Asset Nicholson, and this is Chris Murphy. This is going to be an interesting, possibly feisty game, where we've already talked about the chalk factor with Bobby and Ray.
Yeah, something to keep an eye on. You won't be able to avoid it based on what we saw from Keith Deller in his opening match. Very good win for him against Mike Huntley.
First set, first leg. It's Keith to throw first. Game on.
Credit to Keith for that. But yeah, an interesting debate. And watch throughout the next 3 to 5 legs.
43.
As that nice, pristine, dark black segment of the 20 becomes white. Only the red segment that Duff cares about here did have a 180 in his match against Lisa Ashton, but the one little hope for Deller was the doubling. So much better than Neil Duff's. 43% for Keith Deller, 30% for Duff in their opening encounters.
One thing that Neil has over Keith, though, is that he is constantly in competition, whether it's Motor Super Series, WDF Circuit, anything local he does in Northern Ireland. He is constantly under pressure, being the current WDF World Champion, because when you have that title, wherever you go, you've got a target on your back.
100.
But in a funny sort of way, he's come into this tournament, for me, without a great deal of expectation. I think more people have been looking at Thornton, at Mitchell, at Taylor. We haven't, maybe in the best possible way, been looking at Neil Duff as a possible winner of this title. But I think Neil is compartmentalising tournaments better than ever, knowing that he's not looking past Saturday yet, and he's definitely not looking past Keith.
16.
Looking for the treble.
76.
Well, misses his first double, as I mentioned, a kind of problem against Lisa Ashton. The scoring was great from Neil Duff. Had he sharpened up a little bit more, we'd be talking about him as somewhere around that same mark as the best performer, Robert Thornton, who averaged 94 in his opening match of his title defence.
But Duffman really did win the key battles yesterday.
No score.
Gives Deller a freebie here to steal this one away. You mentioned that his finishing was pretty decent for Friday. Just struggling to find the range so far on Saturday afternoon. On the inner ring, Duff looking for the outer ring. Double 10. Not happy. Not happy at all.
7 darts missed at double from Neil Duff in this opening leg, which he raced away, and Keith Deller might be able to pick his pocket here. You cannot feel confident coming forward with 10 remaining.
You saw what effect missed doubles had on Dennis Harbour in game 2. They cost him big. And this first leg might be stolen away. There's no way that Deller deserves this leg, but he might just get it anyway. And does, because his finishing was better than Duff's. Simple as that. Take them when they come. It happens to every dart player, no matter how long or on which stage you play it.
Well, I mentioned that in that first match he was at 30%, Neil Duff, compared to Keith's 43 on the outer ring.
59.
In one fell swoop, one leg of darts, he's now below 25% for the tournament.
100.
Doesn't show a great deal of exasperation, and we know that when it comes to best of 7 sets, which nobody's going to play in this tournament, for that matter, but even if he gets a bad start, he will believe he can come through it, like that game with Jim McEwen last year. And wasn't it interesting yesterday that we heard from Jim McEwen talking about his hunger to be here next year? And you could, if you go through the seniors ranks or the senior qualifiers.
30.
Keith Deller, as much as he believes in his own ability,
100.
He's a pragmatist, he's a realist, and he knows that what he's going to have to do to beat Neil Duff is take about every chance he gets. And that's what he did in the first leg. An unexpected opportunity, and Deller snaffled it.
76.
I think he categorised that perfectly, Chris. It is a question of how many chances he gets.
36.
Neil will have another one to take his first leg of the contest, but he's getting more scar tissue on the outer ring as the visits go by.
81.
Yeah, this could start to become a problem. Needs that settler after missing his first 10 darts at double in this match. 11. Duff's dirty dozen.
20.
And it's now unlucky 13.
Angel Car 149.
Treble 19 would have left double 16.
133.
That would have been the pinch of the day so far. Duff's back at 10s and takes it this time. It is 1-all. At which point do we have an extended debate about the chalk thing? I know that there have been a few people on social media voicing their opinions about it. Me personally, not a fan of chalk. Didn't like it on my hands. I'm like Bobby George. It affected the way I throw. I don't think it was a problem yesterday for Huntley because he's been asked about it and he didn't have any complaints. Doesn't seem like Duffman's got any complaints, but there are many things that are used for improved grip in this sport, whether it be wax, whether it be a resin, but the only controversial one is this form of chalk, because it not only improves Keith's game, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it's the way it can possibly, and I use that word in bold, possibly hinder others and the playing surface. The reason we brought it up yesterday is because of the new punch rule. We can't ignore the fact that Neil has just hit 2 maximums, so I don't think the chalk is a factor.
Yeah, well, there's not as much on the board at this point, is there? So the point that you and Bobby have both been making won't be affecting Duff yet. Let's see what happens as the match goes on, but really good stuff there. First 180 of the match, promptly followed by the second. And it's a much, much more solid, convincing leg of darts from the WDF World Champion.
Is that your way of saying that Duff has got a better chance of a good performance if he wins? quicker.
Look,
97.
I'll be honest, I'd never thought about it that way, and I'm sure many who don't play professional darts or darts to a decent standard would be aware of. But how you and Bobby have described it and how it might affect you, I think, is an interesting point. However, no effect on Duff, and for all the talk of the chalk, Duff darts are doing the talking here.
Absolutely right. That's what he has to do. I used to walk into venues and see that the night that we were playing, it was a chalkboard. I would automatically say, right, who's going to do this for me? I'll give you a £5, because I didn't want chalk on my hands. I loved venues that had electronic scoreboards and marker pens, or even just pen and paper. But obviously, if you look back through time, Keith's done this for 40 years. It's nothing new.
Well, let's see if Duff can do this. Doesn't have to go treble 18 bullseye. He did say he got tempted into a bullseye finish yesterday, didn't he, against Lisa Ashton, because the crowd was kind of egging him on.
Bowing to peer pressure there, were you, Duff man?
60. Yellow card 24.
After a shaky start and some Duff doubling, this is for the first set. Double 6.
18.
He will hate that visit with a passion. Nobody wants to be stuck on double 3 after having 3 clean darts at double 12.
Yellow card 6.
Worst possible scenario. Probably going to go to his right now, just like that, to take the first set. And after a stumbling first leg, he's taken command of the match in a flash.
Yeah, Keith Deller said that he wouldn't play like he did yesterday. The problem for Keith is, well, he was right, but he's playing worse.
I think the power of positive thought is a good thing. I applaud the way he spoke yesterday.
41.
The power of positive talk to yourself, or positive self-talk, is something that a lot of great sports people have used over the years. Tiger Woods, Ben Hogan,
100.
back in the 1950s. It's been used in things like the music industry as well. But predominantly
99.
in sport, it's been used by some of the elite people in their vocation. People like Adam Peaty and Bradley
100.
Wiggins. Positive self-talk can be misconstrued as arrogance. Four tons and a 101 out. People just don't do it anymore.
Yeah, it's smarter to go for the bull 25, isn't it, and leave a 2-darter. But he takes out the 2-darter and goes out
Game on.
in 14 to lead in the second set.
And much like the brownies I made a couple of Saturdays ago, I think Neil Duff is settling down. A bit like Andy Jenkins, who is eliminated from the tournament, but he looks like he's got plenty of friends to help him get over the fact that he is
60.
eliminated.
Yeah, it looked like he was going to make more of a fight of it. He bounced back, levelling up after 2 sets with the shot of the tournament, perhaps so far, that 1-4-2.
I'd have to agree. That 1-6-1 from Peter Manley on Thursday was pretty good, but that 1-4-2, based on the timing of it, has got to be the finish of the event so far. I'm not going to go so far as to say that Andy Jenkins is now Mr. 1-4-2, by the way.
45.
Neil Duff is just starting to strut his stuff a little bit in this match. Keith Deller's decent visits are few and far between. Did have a 140
60.
in his middle visit of his 3 so far in this leg. And he has kept hold of the advantage, but I'll go back to the point. He's going to have to make the most of every chance he gets. And he's got a chance now.
And you've Kevin Painter fans out there this afternoon as well. Wonder how many people are supporting the Duff man. Anybody made the trip over from Northern Ireland?
I
wonder.
136.
2 visits for this chance for Keith Deller. This will be rare in this match.
42.
Hasn't really made the most of that one. Duff man with a 105 plus here will be in position to possibly steal it away.
41.
And you're right about something, Murph. I don't see as much chalk on the board in this game as yesterday. Great second dart.
86.
No leg on the board in the set yet, but we'll expect a return. That expectation now turns to hope. He does come back.
120.
Fascinating that he didn't go 2 double tops. He's a good thinker, is Neil. But he might lose this leg.
No score.
Has been a good doubler.
20.
As Deller.
I'd have the power of positive talk, but he was shaking his head there where Neil could see it. Oof. Round the corner, but doesn't register.
No score.
Wow.
8.
Doesn't get it.
He had to step that far across. He was in front of the camera.
The second leg. Keith Deller.
Missed the double, and Keith Deller managed to punish him. All square in the second set, having seen Duff take in the first. I just do wonder, Paul. Look, if it stays like this, then there's not going to be much point talking much more about the chalk because we're not seeing the same level from Deller. However, I do wonder if he maybe is aware of some of the discussions
81.
Following his match yesterday and has decided to tone it down a little bit.
I'm not so sure. I think Keith's strong enough in his own mind that if that level of chalk helps him, he would definitely use it. Unless somebody of authority has told him that he's not allowed to. But if he's allowed to use it at all, why would he then be regulated as to how much he uses in-game? But it seems to me like he's not putting it on the barrels with the regularity as yesterday.
We've seen it come out of the pocket for a moment there.
140.
One question I was going to level at you, Murph, was 12 months ago you were here for all of the days of this championship.
81.
Do you think that Neil Duff, watching this championship 12 months ago, thought he would be here?
Great question. He was tempted for this very finish yesterday.
Don't feel pressure, Neil. It's not up to them.
Even Keith telling him to go for it.
Ah, smart man, you see. Not just a hat rack.
Well, don't forget this tournament happened before the WDF World Championship last year. It wasn't scheduled to. So Duff at that point
41.
Certainly wouldn't have thought he would have been invited. Although he did think he was going to win the World Championship, so maybe he did. Double top. He's played the pragmatist. Double 10. And it worked out well for Neil Duff.
Yeah, Neil knows best.
Game on.
I love the fact that he had the interaction with the crowd there as if to say, I know what happened yesterday,
60.
but I'm in charge right now.
Yeah, it was one of those moments, wasn't it, for Neil Duff there.
I'll tell you what, since that first leg of the contest, he's found a lot more in the way of scoring, and he's been playing at a really consistent level.
Yeah, that's 4 now.
60.
Having only hit 1 in his match against Lisa Ashton yesterday, and it's 4 perfect darts. He fancied it, didn't he?
81.
You can tell by the reaction.
I sent out a tweet yesterday about Neil Duff, and I'm just fascinated to see if Joe Cullen
96.
knows that Neil uses his darts. He's actually gone to the newer set of Joe Cullen's, which are more aggressive grip. It's just fascinating that when Joe was having success with his darts, Neil started to have success. And now that we started a new season, Neil's gone to the newer set as well. He could actually get a title before Joe this year with the new darts. And my tweet was about the fact that he should start charging Cullen royalties if he starts getting him to sell a few more sets, but that's for them to hammer out.
I just saw the Harbour Master, who was mastered by the artist Kevin Painter in the previous match, and it looks like Keith Duff has got Deller's number here.
Game shown the second
Neil
set.
Duff has got Deller's numbers here, and Keith could be heading out very quickly. It is 2-0 to Neil Duff, world champion last year, and he is showing his class against the world champion of 40 years ago. Duff 2, Della 0, match ends after the break.
Good afternoon everybody, hope you're all well. Just about to get back to the match again. Don't forget to hit the like button if you could, that'd be great. Pushes out the algorithm and makes people see the live stream more. And also if you're new to my channel, don't forget to hit subscribe, that would be really good too. Enjoy the match, I'll be back later.
So, Neil Duff doing a job on Keith Deller so far. The only thing that's getting chalked up his legs against the 1983 World Darts Champion, Mr. 138. He's won a couple of legs. Comfortable stuff for Neil Duff, who started slow in the match, missing his first 10 darts at double, but he's started to put things right, and he's looking now in cruise control and on course for a quarter-final against one of the favourites of the tournament in Robert Thornton and Scott Mitchell, who are in action a little bit later on today. In fact, first match of the evening session.
First leg is Keith to throw first. Game on.
Really good match coming up to close the afternoon session as well. And Mark Durbridge, who played very well yesterday, meets Terry Jenkins, last year's semi-finalist. But well, I'm going to ask you a question, Paul, and I don't want anybody to take offence, but do you think Della's done now in this match against Duff?
140.
I don't want to put the cart before the horse, but based on what we've seen so far,
85.
It's easy to say yes. But there's a few more factors that come into play here. Neil has played much better in this match than Keith has.
60.
He's playing more regularly and at a higher level than Keith is on a regular basis. So you would fancy from this position that Duff is going to get the job done. But if you think about the first leg of the match, there are no guarantees in this game, especially on this stage, under this kind of pressure. And my wish is that Duff is going to win. But I'm going to bite my tongue a little bit, considering some of the stick I got yesterday for predicting games. So I'm going to say yes, I think Duff's going to win. And I probably shouldn't say any more than that.
Della does need to do this kind of thing with much more frequency. And he's back from the break with a bang.
Game on.
Nice neat finish from Keith Della.
That's what we haven't been finding. You are a Keith Della fan. He does have plenty of fans out there donning that 138 shirt.
What's interesting about Keith, I think, alongside some of the other legends that have played, say John Lowe last year, Bob Anderson, who's played both years, the likes of Peter Manley, none of them really seem to have a belief that they can
100.
go deep in the tournaments. Look, they want to get up there, they want to play a good game, and we respect all of them. But you have to respect Keith Della for thinking a bit bigger than that.
He's never been someone, when going to any darts venue, he's never been shy to do or try anything.
140.
He called him a pragmatist, but in fact, he's someone who walks through a door and he can try and own a room within about 5 seconds. He's not shy in talking his chances up, or someone who's looking for answers to a question. He will walk up to someone and ask the question immediately. That's not the kind of quality that everybody has.
They'll be hoping to alter the scoreline
81
in this one.
But 160.
Look, he has had good legs, he has had good moments in this tournament, but he hasn't put them together consistently.
100.
That's what Neil Duff is doing here.
You think about the concentration around that treble 20 bed compared to Michael Huntley yesterday. Duff is just so much more concentrated around it, a lot less in the way of wild darts.
Yeah, he's playing at a similar standard to that which saw him fight off a very tenacious, talented opponent in Lisa Ashton. Around about the 88 average mark, that 60 finish levels up
93.
The third set, and it means Duff is now 2 legs away from a quarter-final place.
With a nickname like Duffman as well, and me being a very big Simpsons fan.
Are you?
The 59. Greatest disappointment of the last 12 months for me is that Duffman has not celebrated in an interview saying, "Oh yeah," yet. Come on, Neil, don't let me down. He's got to win the game first, I understand that. But with a name like Duff, he was always going to be called Duffman. In fact, he's had some Simpsons-related dart shirts in the past. I can't believe I haven't got my hands on one yet. Got a bit, well, 41. Not in a negative way, but he's gone the other way with it now. He's gone away from the caricatures. He's just gone with the orange and the sponsors, and of course the name on the back of the country that he represents. What's wrong with that?
Well, I think, you know, the more serious you get, you become a world champion, you played in big TV tournaments. There's a time and a place for the Simpsons, and there's a time and a place to get serious with the darts.
Oh, absolutely. And the one thing that I'm thinking about with Neil at the minute is that he's a real contender for this title now.
And he'll certainly be thinking that himself.
44.
He may not be voicing it at the same level as Lakeside last year, but intrinsically, I think he's starting to feel it.
120.
Has had a few darts on the floor over the course of this tournament, Keith Deller. But despite that one dropping down, that's a good couple of visits from Keith. 4 darts in trebles with only 5 penetrating the ball.
87.
Take the lead in the set. Well, that's
36.
interesting.
Neil Lucar 164.
Doesn't think he can hit the 144, Neil. Well, maybe he was just going for the treble 18.
100.
He might not have thought that, well, if I don't get it, I don't think he's going to hit the 144. But that was his thinking. He was right. Double 16. And Deller takes the lead.
Keith Deller.
Not really sure what he's displeased with, because yes, I know he missed a number there, but got the job done.
140.
Some people are pretty hard to please.
I'm not entirely sure he needed 51 there, but what the referee called. Just thinking back to the previous visit.
140.
Well, he hit what he was told to. And he does lead in this set.
97.
And he is starting to cause problems for Neil Duff as well. That guy in the crowd there looked like Damien Duff. Former Blackburn, Newcastle left footer.
Well, if we're talking football...
Don't mention the FA Cup.
I'm not going to.
Not yet. I know you. Come on.
Just going to say that Keith Deller's beloved Ipswich are actually losing at half-time, 2-1 to my beloved Sheffield Wednesday, who, if you didn't know, recently beat your beloved Newcastle in the FA Cup. There we go, 164 for Duff.
164. Not going to go, but that is a decent approach from one of Northern Ireland's finest.
This is now a huge moment in this match. It's double top for Duff to move within 1.
Game show on the
And Deller was hanging around, he was waiting, hoping to have his chance to pounce. Now he has to hold his throw here, or Deller is done, and Duff is through.
120.
Great visit. Great visit. He would have taken 2 big trebles, even though the last one was a small single.
41.
Quite mystified, actually, as to why he didn't go for the 18s with dart 3. Looking for what we call in darts the white horse.
97.
He went for the double switch there. Pitching his way down to the finishing zone in good time, but he might have company.
140.
This is a good showing of defiance from Deller.
76.
Showcased by that last dart when the chance was getting away from him.
To get a ton plus here and stay in the same vicinity as your opponent.
60.
Trebleless doesn't help him. He's now officially a dart behind. This kind of game, Murph, these are the games that I want to see at this tournament. Because a year ago, you're thinking, you'll never see Neil Duff versus Keith Deller. You do now.
Maybe something of a dream for Duff himself. That's a dream visit. A 5th match for Neil Duff, who makes Keith Deller have to take this out. And he's not going to. And now Duff should get at least 1 dart to wrap up the win.
He did hit tops to take 68 to come this far. And it is tops for the match.
Duff
defeats Deller in straight sets and cruises into the quarters at the World Seniors Darts Championship. Deller, who had that impressive win against Mike Huntley yesterday, denied by Duff, who we'll hear from talking to Helen.
I know, it wasn't me, I'm not late. done, Neil. Congratulations. Through again.
Through again, yeah. Made a wee bit easier work of it this time.
Yeah. You look very comfortable up there. I want to go right back to the start, though. A little double trouble right at the start, the first couple of legs. Did it take you a couple of legs to settle?
I felt comfortable. I felt settled. The first leg, I think I don't know. I just took it for granted, I think. And then once you started missing, it gets harder to hit. So yeah, I was actually glad to see Keith winning the first leg, and then just for me, then they was waiting to slip in and just back again.
So it kicked you on being behind.
Yeah. I should have had the first leg. I really should have. Kind of went in off the break and I'm scoring well. I feel comfortable. Sometimes they just don't go. Simple as that.
Can you explain the 161 that got you a boo from the crowd?
That was your fault. Yeah, because you brought it up in the interview yesterday about going for the 161. So I kind of thought, all right, I'll let the crowd decide.
Yeah, because you checked it out when you went for it when Lisa wasn't on a finish, but you didn't today, and they booed.
Yeah, I kind of went for it. Then I probably built myself up for it, and then I went. You know what? There's no point in any heroics here. Just set it up and lucky enough I hit the double 10 because that could have come back and hit me. Then I missed tops. I wasn't great on tops today. I'll probably spend an hour this afternoon maybe just and just sort out my doubles. But normally tops is my go-to double, and but I go over the line. I'm glad I'm into Sunday.
You kicked off a leg with a 180. Bobby George sits up and goes, "Hello." I think he thinks that you could be on for a 9-darter here.
I would say Bobby's probably already been out in Jenny's bet there and had a wee punt this morning. So he has.
Have you got a 9-darter in you this week?
There could be. There's been one brewing for a wee while now. I've came close a couple of times. Missed one in Modus. So. Yeah, there's no better places to hit it than the Circus Tavern stage.
Absolutely, and we've not had one in the seniors yet. Also, most players have got their name on the back of the shirt. You've got Northern Ireland. You're very proud to represent your country, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm bar 1 year up in Northern Ireland captain since 2015, so I always said, set aside everything that I've done in my career. When you pull on your national shirt, it's one of the biggest things you'll ever do. I'm probably getting to the end of my international career, but yeah, you wear it with pride, and yeah, I always will.
And we love to see it. Neil Duff, well done. You're in the next round. Thank you very much. I'll let you get your darts. All right, we'll take a very quick break, and our third game of the afternoon is on this stage shortly.
Welcome back to the Circus Tavern, where places in the quarter-finals of this Seniors World Darts Championship are being settled match by match. Bobby George is watching the action. Neil Duff, the reigning WDF World Champion, just got through to the last 8 of this tournament. He's going to play Scott Mitchell or Robert Thornton, the reigning World Champion in the Seniors Tour, in one of those quarter-finals. They play tonight, by the way. Are you impressed with Neil?
Yeah, he's a really, really steady player. You know, strong scorer, good finisher, smart-looking guy.
He looks the part.
He looks the part as well. He played really well there. Abdullah didn't play bad at the end of the match. He started getting them together a little bit, but he's too strong. The power scoring, 180s, use it in, you know. I thought he was going to do a 9-darter or something like that. Wouldn't put it past that guy.
I now think this is warming up to be a terrific test. Robert Thornton and Scott Mitchell play tonight, and that game, winner of that match going against Neil tomorrow, really, whoever wins that will get a massive set of confidence. Now, the other thing I want to say is, next TV tournament for the seniors is the Champion of Champions tournament in Blackpool next month. And the way that's going to work is there are 2 places still to be decided for that. And Neil surely must be a contender.
I would have thought so, and his performance now, yeah, he's got to be. He's too good not to put him in it. I mean, he could play on the Pro Tour, because he could, really.
Well, the Seniors Tour executives are going to decide over the next 24 hours who the 2 places are going to go to. So obviously that's going to be, because it's a big TV tournament, so it's of great interest. And by the way, for that, there is one place that goes to the winner of an open tournament played on the Friday night before the event, and anyone can go and enter into that. It's like a golden ticket. So that is going to be keenly fought over as well. It's very exciting, this, you know.
Well, they've got more opportunities, haven't they? That's the main thing. All dart players over 50, and any opens, they've got a chance to make something of, well, revive their living, say, you know.
I think that golden ticket for the winner of Friday night.
Yeah, the golden. That's a lot. I like that golden ticket.
And then those 2 places are going to be announced very quickly before the next match. Mark Dudbridge or Terry Jenkins. Everyone's talking about Mark. He played really well last night, really well. Now I'm wondering.
I know what you're going to say, but no one's talking about Jenkins.
They're not, are they? No one's talking about Terry.
No one said nothing. His first time, you see, they forgot that. But he played really good darts, didn't he? I mean,
semi-final here last year.
Yeah, 6 10-80s in his first round. Second highest average in the tournament. You know, Dudbridge's got some good to go.
And very quickly, Bob, what I'm saying now is, now we're getting towards the closing stages of the tournament. You've got to play well today or tonight. You've got to come back. Quarter-final tomorrow afternoon. Semi-finals, win that, then go straight into the final tomorrow night. Stamina for the seniors, that's going to be an issue.
Well, it is. You know, them sort of it comes a long race in, doesn't it? Most of the guys will be worn out, but you know, it's a part of the game. That's how it goes in 25
You've got to fight and grab for it. It's worth winning, isn't it?
Well, it's worth winning, but it's hard to win. But you've got to be still fit for over 50s to go up and down and hang about all day practicing, and then get up there and perform, then do it again, and then do it again on the same day. That's difficult to do. Difficult.
A final match of this afternoon. Back to Paul Starr.
Welcome back to the party, ladies and gentlemen. We are live from Purfleet at the Circus Tavern. Of course, this is the stage where legends played and dart and history was made. And it's the last 16 stage of the Jennings Bet World Seniors Darts Championship. And we are ready. The players are ready. And it's tungsten time! And now, ladies and gentlemen, from Bristol in England, can you please welcome a 2002 World Master, the 2005 World Finest. He is Flush, and he is Mark Dudbridge! And now from Ledbury in England, he's a 9 times TV major finalist. So let's let loose the Raging Bull, Terry Jenkins!
It's true what they say, you know, you can't beat a bit of bully. Now Terry Jenkins taking on Mark Dudbridge in the final match of this afternoon session, a last 16 encounter which has all the attributes to be the best of the bunch, particularly based on how the pair performed in their opening encounters. Terry Jenkins hitting 6 180s in his marathon match against Chris Mason, while Mark Dudbridge got rid of Glenn Durrant as quick as a flash. The 50-year-old former finalist here at the World Championship takes on last year's semi-finalist at this championship, Terry Jenkins, who is looking to go one further. The bull on the charge, but probably couldn't have had a worse opponent in the next round. Paul, this is going to be a difficult one to call, isn't it?
It is a difficult one to call, and it's a difficult one for them to handle, because these two have played some great matches in their career, but as far as the route that they have to the title is concerned, it's maybe as hard as anybody's.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. First set, first leg. It's Mark to throw first. Game on.
The artist, Kevin Painter, awaits the winner of it, having mastered Dennis Harbour with a straight set success earlier on in the session. And then
100.
it would be Duff, who we've just seen sweep past Keith Deller, or Robert Thornton or Scott Mitchell, if they're going to get to the final of this event.
Ouch. Guess who's not in that half of the draw?
Mr. Taylor?
Philip Taylor, yeah. So I think somebody is very happy about these guys all going at loggerheads over the next 24 hours, because he doesn't have to take on any of those guys until potentially the final. But Phil's got his own problems in his half of the draw.
140.
He's going to take on Darren Johnson, and then Andy Jenkins awaits after that potentially, and then you will see Martin Adams against Leonard Gates a little bit later, with John Part and Daryl Fitton closing things out later on tonight.
85.
Richie Howson, by the way, rather than Andy Jenkins.
Oh, I do beg your pardon.
Only one Jenkins left standing in this tournament. Andy did produce some big highlights earlier today, but Howson got the better of him. That will be the Phil Taylor's match will be the third one of tonight. The first of tonight is that Thornton-Mitchell clash.
140. Terry required 138.
Because I keep seeing him in the arena. You only keep saying something and then you just inadvertently say their name.
98.
You don't usually see someone who's been defeated still in the venue. They usually leave with a bit of a mope.
Yeah, he's the type of guy, Paul, that would hear that and try and claim that he should be in the next round. So that's why we had to correct it. This Jenkins, Terry, he's looking
92.
at top to bag a break.
Terry required 40
in the opening leg.
TJ can hook his way into the lead. He can find his way through those two.
1.
He can't.
Mark required 24.
Chance missed.
He's
feeling it out.
Terry required 39.
Double 16. You don't see Terry down here very often. But he does find the lead with that third dart of the busy.
They posted very, very similar stats in their opening matches. Both averaged 89, almost dead on 89. And they both had checkout percentages of 43 and 44.
58. Just speaking about these two for a few moments, we know that Flash is now someone who can grace the seniors, having turned 50 very recently.
96.
I don't think we know fully what his aspirations are for the next 5 years, but this scene is so buoyant, as well as some other amateur opportunities, that maybe having a little bit of work and some investments from the money that he made earlier in his career, maybe having a part-time schedule with some things like this, and you know, maybe qualifying for the seniors match play, senior masters, even the champion of champions next month that Ray Stubbs was talking about. That could be enough to scratch the itch.
121.
There's one thing that Mark Dudbridge has not lost, and that is the desire, because all you got to do is look in his eyes. He's not treating this like a game of practice. He really wants to get this title.
It's an interesting story, his route here. Phoned up the organisers, said he wanted to go here. They said, well, you're going to have to prove yourself. So they put him in the Motor Super Series, and he did prove himself.
105.
Backed himself an invite at the earliest possible opportunity. He only turned 50 a month ago.
And he was sensational in that Group A that he played. He didn't win the week, but ultimately that week belonged
100.
to Bristol.
Terry requires 77.
He won the Group A and Chris Mason won the week.
And Mason still in the audience, taking in today's action. Terry looking at tops.
57.
Mentioned those double stats in over the table. Really good standard that for this tournament, both around 43, 44%.
That's world class. Doesn't matter whether it's seniors or anything else. Look at the bullseye.
99. Terry requires 20.
He misses. He wants it just on the outside wire. Maybe a little bit closer than that. That's a bit better.
10.
Can't take advantage of it.
Mark required 25.
He's a man who knows how to get through deep into tournaments, Terry Jenkins. Dudbridge trying to halt his progress here. And he does that with a break back.
Third leg, it's Mark to throw first. Game on.
Well, these two were coming through in the PDC ranks at roughly the same time. Around 2003, 2004, starting to grace this place. Then into the Alexandra Palace era with the World Championship, match plays, Grand Prix.
Precisely 20 meetings between them, their head-to-head record in PDC darts.
140.
And they both won exactly 10.
Two of the best players not to have won PDC major tournament. That's a loose term, by the way.
94.
Yeah, quite possibly. I think you definitely have to put Terry Jenkins in that bracket because of all the near misses. Problem for Terry was that there were near misses in terms of getting to so many finals, but when he got to the finals, never really performed, did he?
Which leads to my next question, because he didn't really perform in any of those finals. So which one was the nearest miss? It's a very, very hard thing to call.
Often ran into a player we'll see later today, Phil Taylor.
Adrian Lewis.
Michael Van Gerwen.
James Wade.
Yeah, can forgive him. I think we can forgive him.
He ran into everybody. But he's running in the 60s there, and our resident fancy dress girls have got bulls with
57.
rings through the noses.
Well, you mentioned that he ran into the 60s there. He shouldn't have really, should he?
Can't teach an old bull new tricks.
140 would have left him on 166, which of course is not a finish, but no trouble. Dudbridge far enough behind. Jenkins not need concern himself with the maths.
We're looking at two dartists here who are not overly complicating their equipment.
43.
I talked about it yesterday with Mark.
68.
With Terry's darts, as smooth as his head.
Always been the same, haven't they, Terry Jenkins' darts, and he's demon with them. And what each in the leg, he's been Mr. Maximum in this tournament as well. That's his seventh of the event.
Game on.
You think about these darts being as smooth as they are, you might think you wouldn't be able to grip them. But it depends on the coarseness of your fingertips and the first crease in your fingers as well. If you have naturally sweaty hands, sometimes smooth darts will suit you better. And obviously that's the case for both players, because all you're seeing are four very shallow
if you're happy
lines
with the
on those
other
Dudbridge
match in
barrels,
the
which I
corner of
believe
the
on
screen,
you.
in the chat, can you just type yes so I know you're okay with me leaving it there?
40.
I remember going to Australia with Terry back in 2009. He was having a practice in the Coogee Bay Hotel, and it was ahead of a teams event where he was playing. Wasn't with Tony O'Shea, by the way. He was playing with Mark Webster and Mark Walsh. I watched him practice for about 30 minutes. I knew Terry a little bit. I'm just going to watch and see what he's like in practice. He hit a 9-darter because he was doing 501 to himself. And then he hit another 180. And another one. And he missed double 12 for a second 9-darter in a row. And then I started to realise just how good Terry Jenkins is.
96.
But he's as good as he wants to be, because he has got more stuff going on than your average person. Honestly, if you sit down and chat with him for 5 minutes, he'll tell you all of the little business interests he's got.
Mark Dudbridge takes the attention away from Terry with a 180, but he wants it back.
135. Mark to require 38.
Straight for it then.
Last interruption, I assure you. When the end of this match happens, I'll do a split screen of board 1 and 2 if you're interested. Type yes.
That is incredible thinking, Mark. I tip my hat to you. Hat to you. Somewhat sarcastic, because he wasn't meaning that, of course.
This is a spell of brilliance from Mark Dudbridge. This is the right time to put your foot to the metal.
We talked about chalk in the last leg, or the last match. How about 42? Now we have a little look at the points of Dudbridge, because my understanding of the new rule which comes into effect in 11 months is that these points
45.
will be banned. We have to intricately go over the rules and figure out what is allowed and what 96. Is not. But speaking to Paul Hinks and Charlie Costerfield this morning, they are of the understanding that they will be taking gauges on the stage with them to make sure that points 82. Will be authorised pre-match.
It'll have to be policed, won't it? Interesting developments. So you might not see those at the tournament next year. No trouble with carries, of course. The points as smooth as the barrels.
You don't tend to find it with some of the older players. Most of them don't go for the newfangled.
45.
Points have become a really big talking point, no pun intended, over the last 4 or 5 years because of innovation and experimentation, of course.
There's a lovely moment, wasn't there, in the
100.
Interview after his opening win, where Mark Dudbridge was joined on the stage by his daughter. I've never really seen him at his best, never really seen him in a big televised tournament, despite the fact that he's been there and done it in the past. Can Terry Jenkins stay there? Well, one Jenkins took out the 142 that way, another one can't, and it means that Dudbridge has the chance to take the opening set.
A very tight opening set as well.
120.
And remember, he was 2-1 down. Double top. Oh, look at Terry in the background. 30. As soon as that one was hit, he said, come on.
Required 22.
He's now got double 11. It's not an easy one. Oh, and he splits. I think we could be in for some drama at the end of Saturday afternoon session.
20.
We're already getting it in this one. Double 5. And Dudbridge takes it with a quintessentially flash celebration. A little bit of a hint of that World Grand Prix celebration against Andy Jenkins. Sorry, Andy.
In fact, the man that beat him in the next round was Terry Jenkins after that famous comeback. And when we say famous comeback, we're talking about in one leg in that match, when he missed loads of darts at double at the start of it. Because you have to start on a double in the World Grand Prix and then manage to somehow turn it around.
Yeah, that little video makes the rounds every single October.
78.
Like 3 or 4 days before the Grand Prix tournament. Everybody digs out that Mark Dudbridge, Andy Jenkins leg, which is one of the most famous double start legs in history.
60.
Another tournament where Jenkins made the final. Lost to James Wade. Very different discipline going double start. There are yet to be any double start events in
65.
Senior stuff, but never say never. Just talking about Terry's vocations away from darts. This is not his only baby. He does have a furniture business, wedding car business. Loves going antiquing.
60.
I went to Bahrain with him a few years ago. I barely saw him. He was too busy going out to the markets and looking for trinkets. You want something to be valued.
80.
Terry Jenkins is not the worst person to ask.
It was interesting getting his thoughts on how he's approached this tournament. He said just doing enough.
135.
Had put his darts down for a while before the seniors concept was announced, and in fact so much so that he couldn't find them, didn't know where he'd left them, Terry Jenkins.
150.
But it only took him a few weeks to start hitting the 180s again.
He does have a lovely place to practice at the back of his house. One of those
131.
big purpose-built summer houses, which has a pool table and a TV and a dartboard, so when he wants to get ready for something, he has the ideal place to do so.
They're not ideally placed, are they?
25. Mark
Dudbridge may well be ideally placed in the match. A set to the good. A double 8 would mean he'd be a leg to the good.
Game shot the first leg. Mark Dudbridge. Second leg,
Definitely
it's
growing in
Master Throw
confidence
first.
after that really
Game
tight
on.
first set. Breaking through on the back now and dreaming of a 2-set lead like Kevin Painter.
But we're seeing 2 of the top 4 performers from the first round, and the other 2 are in the same half of the draw. Dudbridge, Jenkins, Duff, and Thornton, who was the premier performer, defending champion, the only man to average north of 90.
54.
Great atmosphere here on Saturday afternoon. Everybody loving the action.
121.
It's got Terry exactly where he wants him, causing him problems.
78.
And forcing him just to doubt himself a little bit. We are guaranteed to have at least one player in the final 8, not from England. That is Neil Duff. Or as later on, we could get 2 North Americans through if John Part and Leonard Gates win. That's a beautiful maximum from Mr. Maximum in this tournament.
He's racking them up now, 8 in the event.
We may even still have 4 players from outside of England in the last 8 if the existing champion Robert Thornton wins against Scott Mitchell later.
$177.
Is it a 180 and a 177? He might even lose a leg.
Double 19. He does lose the leg. He does lose the leg.
Mark Dudbridge.
Mark Dudbridge with a clutch finish.
Terry to throw first. Game on.
I'm in shock. Jenkins is pounding that treble 20, but the timing of that 118, absolutely incredible. 180, 177,
59.
He's himself placed. Dudbridge just says, no, I'm not having that. Give me the finish, give me a 2-0 lead. Extraordinary.
26.
Do not want to miss the action from tonight. We've mentioned who is playing, but from 7 p.m. we are going to start with England versus Scotland. Thornton will be playing against
60.
the Dorset farmer, former world champion Scott Mitchell. That's just the start. These guys will be tucked up,
137.
watching it, maybe relaxing, waiting for tomorrow. Terry, historically, when he's eliminated from a tournament, tends to go straight home. That reminds me of when he hit a 9-darter at the World Championship at Ali Pali against Per Larsen of Denmark. He was eliminated by the Dane, thought he was £20,000 richer.
180.
And then
Terry
Kyle
Mackay,
Anderson did stuff like
120.
that and took 10 grand out of Terry's pocket by the time he got home. Is it Terry's turn?
80.
He doesn't
Mark
save the
Mackay,
set on a
65.
Shanghai. And Dudbridge has got 65 for 2-0.
45.
That's really close.
Terry required 40.
Save the set, then it's tops.
Game shot on the
Set
third
saves.
leg. Terry Jenkins. Fourth leg, it's Mark to throw first. Game on.
We saw the 180 followed by the 177 for Jenkins. It was 180 followed by a 137 for Dudbridge there. Both players losing those
24.
respective legs.
This was always going to be a good fight. By good fight, I mean good game, but also in good spirit.
140.
Not seeing any sort of slowing of the pace. Nothing in the way of the old dark arts like we saw from Peter Manley the other day. This is the
100.
kind of game that 15 years ago may have headlined a Pro Tour final, or even the later stages of a major. That's the quality we've got for you here at the end of Saturday afternoon. They're getting sore arms from lifting those 180 signs.
140.
The ball on the charge.
Tell you what's going to happen right here. Jenkins is going to leave a finish. Dudbridge is going to put in a massive score.
51.
And then Jenkins is going to hit that 130.
There we go. Paul's prediction. Will it come to pass?
58.
Nope. Massive
Terry
score.
required
So it means that Terry
130.
won't hit this.
Well, it means he won't need to go for the ball. It also means he doesn't necessarily have to stay on the treble 20, which he's worked out for himself there.
53.
Hasn't worked out particularly well. What is it about people leaving 77 today? I've seen it so many times. It's almost as if the universe is telling us
139.
that
Terry requires
77 is going to be the
77.
number.
Perfect setup from Dudbridge. And now he may have to go for the ball here, Terry Jenkins. 68 remaining. Great dart. Double 7.
70.
What a rescue that would have been.
Marker required
But it
40.
could be getting away from him. Dudbridge wants tops. Tens. Tense. Nervy dart. Difficult. Got to go high.
30.
What a chance that was.
Terry requires 7.
To get the set done with legs to spare.
Game
And
shot
now
on the
you've got to
fourth
do it in
leg.
leg 5.
Terry Jenkins.
Could have a very different match on our hands now.
Even if it ends up
Fifth leg
3-0,
is
it's
Terry to
already
throw
been a
first.
close game.
Game on.
You can get those set play games where every set goes to a fifth leg and they become so important.
When you play set play and you're behind someone who's got 3 darts at tops,
134.
the 2-0 lead, you think, okay, I am ready for this to be me winning 3 straight sets from here to try and get through. But when they miss 3 darts,
84.
there are words that ring around your brain, and one of them that used to ring around mine is, you're right, you've had your chance. It's my set now, different match. That is the
48.
power of positive talk again.
We've spoken a lot about respect in the careers and reputations of these players, and unfortunately for Terry Jenkins, Mark Durbridge has just landed another maximum. He has the reputation of sort of almost a bridesmaid, doesn't he? Always a bridesmaid, almost winning tournaments. 9 major finals. But do you sometimes think that people forget that that in itself is an achievement?
Yes, because we judge people by what they've won, not what they've done.
60.
Make no mistake that Terry Jenkins is and has been an amazing darts ambassador.
59.
He may have picked and chose his routes over the years, but ultimately making that many major finals, how many players can honestly say they've been to the thick
70.
end of so many tournaments like him?
Well, Durbridge now in position. Terry Jenkins looking for the game's 7th maximum to pile on the pressure.
140.
Not quite, but the next
Mark
best thing.
107.
This is massive.
There'd be a celebration if this goes in, I guarantee it. Double 14.
79.
Oh my word, that was close.
Terry Uruguaya, 80.
Wasn't put off by the wayward dart. Wasn't intended in the 19. Jenkins now needs to bail himself out of trouble.
He's going to go 13, you know. Didn't pay off. And Durbridge
14.
does get
Mark
another look.
Uruguaya,
Why would Terry
28.
go for double 13?
And he really is a raging bull now. Double 7. Oh, Jenkins
14.
gets a reprieve.
Why did he go
Terry
for double
Uruguaya,
13?
66.
He's burned a dart. Does he fix it? With only one.
Gains
He
up
does.
the second set. Terry Jenkins.
Terry Jenkins levels up this dramatic darts duel. Durbridge missed darts to double his lead in sets, but at the break between two of the real contenders for this title, it is 1 set apiece. All square then in this brilliant battle between two real challengers for this World Seniors Darts Championship title. But Mark Dudbridge will be left kicking himself after squandering those opportunities to make it a 2-set lead against Terry Jenkins. The ball was raging before the break, almost blew his top and threw it away, but managed to bail himself out of trouble and square up the match, coming back from 2-0 down in that second set and punishing Dudbridge for missed set darts.
Third set, first leg. It's Mark to throw first. Game on.
To restore parity in the match. In fact, Dudbridge had set darts
55
in every single leg he lost.
That doesn't make for very good reading, does it?
24.
I liked your remark about the raging bull, by the way, because that was exactly how Terry was feeling. He was not happy at the end of that second set, even though he won it. He knew that
58.
chances had been given to Dudbridge that he maybe shouldn't have given them at all.
Yeah, that's why he did what he did, wasn't it, when he went for that double 13 and made a mess of it.
96.
In the end, managed to bail himself out on tops. The man once known as Tucker.
59.
20 years ago when he first started appearing on the PDC radar.
Tucker? Why didn't I know this?
It's actually an official nickname, the first
100.
one that he registered.
What, like the guy from... Is it Green? Was it Tucker's Luck?
Before my time.
It was,
before my
that's
time.
The guy from EastEnders used to be Tucker's Luck, didn't he? I'm going to have to look into this. That is an astonishing statistic or piece of information.
100.
All over that. I don't think Mark was known as Flash when he won the World Masters 21 years ago. I think that was more of a PDC nickname that came his way. He was involved in the very first Premier League of darts, of course, after making the World Final.
87.
Terry made plenty of appearances in that tournament.
Good start. Tops.
90.
Becoming a little bit troubling this run of missed doubles for Mark Dudbridge.
Okay, didn't go the bull route, so maybe the double-double. Wrong double. Just so happens that his opponent is hitting doubles.
62. Mark required
but the wrong
20.
ones are not leaving a double to take the leg. Dudbridge has got troublesome shots on doubles. Well, how does he hit this?
No score.
He doesn't.
Terry required 32.
Double eight.
Jenkins
is getting scraps.
Terry Jenkins.
And is staying hungry.
Second leg is
20
Terry
years
to
on.
first.
And getting his first PDC ranking title in the Open Oost Nederland. That was in October of 2003. Beating Colin Lloyd in the final, who wouldn't be far from the world #1 spot after that. Maybe about 12 months later, he reached the summit of the rankings.
140.
Kevin Painter had a pretty good run in that tournament that day, making the semi-finals. And he was beaten by Terry Jenkins.
Painter awaits the winner of
41.
This clash.
Talking about Leonard Gates
135.
yesterday about some of the interesting open names that he'd won over in America and Canada. It was an open, that was a PDC ranked open for Terry Jenkins that he won in 2 consecutive years.
140.
It was called the Open Svartavara. Had to practice that one.
I'll take your word for it.
2 years in a row, 2005, 2006. And you tend to find that in that era of around the turn of the century towards 2005-2006. It was very different then.
140.
We didn't have all these Players' Championships in Barnsley and Wigan and that. We had Opens around Europe.
102. Terry
This set may be
40.
opening up for Terry Jenkins, and he's on a little bit of a run here. Does not like the lie. Shuffles across. He can't find a way.
He's getting further away.
65.
You think it's a guide, and then all of a sudden it's a hindrance.
Well, can Durbridge end this trend of missed doubles? It was 2-0 up.
Game shot on the second
In the previous set, he's missed doubles in every leg since then. He finally puts that to bed.
To throw first.
And we're all square once again in both sets and legs.
Just to take on board what I was saying about Terry's career, where he won the Open Svartavara 2 years in a row in 2005 and 2006.
100.
How about 3 in a row when it comes to Mark Durbridge there? And how about 3 in a row for TJ, winning the Antwerp Open in 05, 06 and 07?
100.
Can't follow it. You know, this is the kind of match where we might see something special. Look at that, 7 maximums. Durbridge actually now with more than his opponent, who hit 6 in his first match.
Harry's been dealt
134.
a very Bristolian section of the draw, hasn't he? First Chris Mason, now Mark Durbridge. All he needed was Bob Anderson as well, and he would have had the trifecta.
He won't care where they come from, but he'll care how good they all are, and it will be one of the great tournament runs if Terry Jenkins makes it through to the final of this one, let me tell you.
22.
Rival Robert Thornton's 2012 UK Open. We'll talk about that one a little bit earlier in the session tonight.
Yeah, didn't have to bother with the ball there. Mark Durbridge keeping his calm after ending that run of missed doubles and looking to edge ahead.
123. Mark required 32. Game shot.
Things are changing. He's starting to get his mojo back. Whether it's tops or double 16.
Game on.
And there's a bit of pace in the walk as well, away from the board. That's always a good sign.
Well, I have to say, the match is basically about Mark Durbridge, isn't it? He's getting to a double in every leg, but it's all about whether he hits it or not before Terry has a chance.
Every dart player's been in a match like that. Maybe not of this length, but you know that you're scoring well enough to win a match.
140.
You don't want to walk away from a game like this where you've had a ton of opportunities and you gifted it to your opponent.
The relentless treble hitting from Flash Durbridge.
62.
I remember a game I played against Dennis Ovens at the UK Open in 2012. I missed 10 match darts over 4 different legs. And I thought, why couldn't I have just hit one of them? But instead, I gave him the game on a plate with a ribbon around it. And that feeling makes you feel sickened to your stomach.
140.
Well, he didn't think about that. He got tempted by the maximum there, Mark Durbridge. Should have been switching downstairs.
Rule number 1 of 299, start on 19s. Take the 19 off, then get the 2 treble 20s. Because that way you would be on 160, wouldn't you, Mark?
Well, that treble there marks 10 successive scoring visits in which Durbridge has found at least one treble.
So you require 130.
Not bad at all. Just 1 treble required for Terry. Not that one. And Durbridge, who's been excellent on his doubles the last couple of legs, is on the cusp of set 3.
Game shot on the first leg.
Trebling.
Mark Durbridge.
Tremendous. Doubling put right by Mark Durbridge.
First leg, it's Terry to throw first.
Now he leads.
Game on.
And is 1 set away from a place in the quarterfinals on debut. And in terms of seniors darts, he's a
96.
mere baby, isn't he, Mark Durbridge?
He's a greenhorn, as they say on the old crab boats. I thought you were going to go full teacher mode there, Murph. Trebling, good.
177.
Doubling, good. I'll give him a pass for that. And a 177 as well means he's really starting to find his score.
44.
Very front on stance, isn't it? Hang on a minute. Hang on a minute, Mark. What are you up to? What are you up to? We've never had one in seniors, and we've never had one at the Tavern in any tournament. Could it be right now? History for Flash.
144.
You can't miss trebles at the moment, but he gets nowhere near one there.
46.
Must try harder.
You're a hard taskmaster, Murphy. It's on 98 after 9. Brilliant leg. He's putting Jenkins under pressure. Some of the reactions that we saw earlier in the match from Terry were as if to say he really wants to make the latter stages of this again, to have another crack at that trophy. But Durbridge is making things really hard for him.
74.
He's decided to start
Terry
playing a little bit quicker now.
164.
Wonder why.
Well, we've been suggesting it is all about Mark Durbridge. He is a class apart from Terry Jenkins in this match.
118.
It may not
Mark
show
24.
in the stats just to the naked eye, but he's getting to a double in every single leg. If he hits it, then Jenkins has got no chance.
Mark Durbridge.
So far, TJ has been shut
Second leg
out.
is Mark to throw first. Game on.
Well, he's constantly finding big visits. And Terry's not. You know who's going to be getting the shots at a double first?
He might not end with the highest average that we've seen so far, but you would be hard-pressed to argue against this as the best performance so far.
No time to go.
100.
We haven't gone the distance this afternoon. And now that I've said that, it's probably going to happen.
More magnetic missiles from Mark Durbridge.
121.
Playing so well that 1-2-1 is a bad visit in his eyes.
50.
Conceivable that if Mark keeps his foot on the pedal here, getting towards that 90 average mark,
137.
Terry might be home by the conclusion of the first match tonight.
121. Mark to require 149.
He's got a cushion here.
26.
Oh dear. Maybe, just maybe, that is the opening that Terry Jenkins needed.
Got to stay straight.
100.
Just needed that
Mark to
dart
require 123.
settle down a little sooner to cushion into the 140 region, but it doesn't happen. And Durbridge has got 104. Make that a bullseye.
98. Terry require 130.
Well, that ball may have just finished the ball off. He's going to get a shot himself. He's not going to get a shot himself. Terry Jenkins greedily gambled on the treble. Should have maybe concentrated on getting a dart at the ball. And now Durbridge will return
114. Mark to require 25.
Of the quarterfinals.
2-8. For 2-0.
Game shot in the second leg. Mark Durbridge.
Wonderfully done by Flash.
Third leg is Terry to throw
One
first.
more leg
Game on.
in this set. And he can go to his Saturday night knowing he'll be back tomorrow.
140.
Terry Jenkins, I think he would have laughed if he'd have hit a maximum there. Hasn't been a leg for a long time where Jenkins has charged away. And anything he does,
140.
Durbridge at the very least matches, if not betters.
Get to certain stages of a darts match like this, you can play a little bit of beat the score. Just try and match, if not better, what your opponent's doing. And if they make an error on their darts, you can be there to pounce. Not that far behind.
60.
Well, we have seen matches change from this position, but the way Mark Dubridge is playing, the way he's looking, just doesn't seem
78.
likely.
Switching's been good as well. Treble 19 shooting's been really impressive from Mark.
140.
Not as good as that visit. That was brilliant from TJ. How much pressure can be levelled at him on that double 18 shot to save the match now?
100.
But once he gets the first
36.
chance, it's a chance he's going to have to take, and he does take it.
Terry Jenkins.
Terry Jenkins prolongs the game at least a little longer, but Dubridge is now serving for the set and therefore the match.
When you get a 2-0 lead, you know that your opponent is going to have to reach deep into their pocket for the
78.
old experience of brinksmanship. Can you do it 3 times, Terry? And if you can, it's a very different
99.
concept that we have in set 5.
Well, he knows he can do it because he came from 2 legs down in the second set, but he had an awful lot of help from his opponent.
177.
That's not helpful for Terry. What was helpful for Kevin Painter earlier against Dennis Harbour was the fact that he couldn't hit a double in that first set. And even though he was 2-0 up, he lost 3 straight legs, and then he did it in set 2 again.
137.
The end may be nearing. He can win this, can't he? Of course the match, but the tournament I'm talking about.
Oh, yes, he can.
98.
Wonderful lead from Terry, but he's not in charge. Mark is in charge, maybe of the whole thing.
93. Terry, you require 170.
What a way this would be to stay in it. It won't happen. And the ball has been battered
100.
and bruised.
Mark requires 16.
By the devilish, demonic darts of Dubridge.
8.
Hold the
Terry
phone,
requires
Murph.
70.
Did not see that coming.
Neither did I.
Neither did Terry.
Tops.
30.
Not this time. He couldn't see it. He was
Mark
waiting for the call
require
from
8.
Charlie. We held the phone, but he didn't get the call.
And
Game
magical
shot.
Mark
And the match.
Dubridge
Mark Dubridge
defeats Terry Jenkins with one of the most delightful displays we've ever witnessed at the World Seniors Darts Championship. And Dubridge dances to victory over the ball. Last year's semi-finalist bows out. Dubridge advances to the last day, and he's going to be a real
Ladies and
danger
gentlemen, Terry
in this
Jenkins.
tournament. Let's hear from Dubridge now, talking to Alan Chamberlain.
Have you shaken his hand? Yeah. Oh, Mark.
Another win.
Another win.
We're not getting Kira up again. I'm not crying again.
Okay, you stay where you are. Maybe we'll talk to you later. Right, so you've proved now that last night wasn't a flash in the pan.
Well, that's what they said when I come up with a name years ago. People will call you a flash in the pan. Obviously, I've dismissed that. Hopefully.
Yeah.
But anyway, Benidorm!
So, that was a good old-fashioned scrap up there. I've got to say, though, the first set, ridiculous. Break a throw, break a throw, break a throw, break a throw, held. The second set was even more ridiculous. You were 2-0 up.
I don't know what happened. I'm playing Terry Jenkins, one of the greatest players ever. So many... how he's not won a majors, like, over the years, unbelievable. You know, we practiced together years ago when we were trying to make ourselves better, which didn't work. But, yeah, I was worried about this game because I knew Glenn last night. I didn't know how he was playing. I knew I was going to get a battle against Terry, but it kind of... the latter stages of the match, it fell into place. I started hitting them.
You had a lovely 118 checkout because Terry stuck in a 177, then a 180, and you took out the 118. You didn't give him a sniff.
Well, he forced me into it.
Right.
How are you doing, guys? So that will bring a conclusion to the World Darts match this afternoon. I'll be back at 7 o'clock with the evening session. For those that want to watch the Players' Championship, you can do so by joining me on Twitch. It's still running and in full screen. For those watching tonight, I say this match, the afternoon one, hit the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you at 7 o'clock with the evening session. From this point onwards, it will be the Players' Championship till the final.
Who's next?
You tell me. You've looked at the draw.
I have no idea.
Have you not looked at the draw?
Myself.
Yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, Mark Durbridge into the quarterfinals.
Congratulations to Mark Durbridge, and he's going to play Kevin Painter in the quarterfinals. Bobby George been watching the action, watching that match. Mark was great last night. He was great again this afternoon.
Yeah.
He really is a force in this tournament, you know.
He played really, really well there. Consistent. And all the time, he put the pressure on Terry all the time. And old Terry trying to fight back, he just couldn't get in front of him. Just couldn't do it.
And given the quality of Terry Jenkins too, that makes the performance even better for me.
Well, Terry Jenkins is always there or thereabouts, and he's a really very tidy dart player. But he did get a bit flustered. He didn't expect that off the doubles, I don't think, to play as good as that. So he was under pressure from the start of the game. I could see, I thought he looks worried, Terry. He's got that worried look. And he looked really worried. And then Mark Durbridge just really pounded properly.
We said earlier this afternoon, you said that you thought Neil Duff was the potential winner of the tournament. I think we have to say exactly the same about Mark Durbridge. He can win the trophy tomorrow night.
Mark Durbridge is capable of doing it, as long as he maintains it, obviously. And then one day you can play. I mean, he played with good darts, mind you, and he played well there. He's just got to play when he plays Kevin Painter next time. So that'd be quite a good.
And as we discussed earlier, tomorrow it's quarterfinals in the afternoon, and the semi-finals and the final tomorrow night. Mark's only just turned 50.
He's a baby in it. He's the bubba. Hey. Well, he is, isn't he? He's the youngest, so obviously he's going to be more fit, I just think. If he goes all that distance, if he goes the distance, he won't be so tired and worn out. But we'll have to wait and see if he gets that far.
Absolutely. So we're making progress. Let's check on tonight's 4 games, because this will complete the lineup for the quarterfinals. Robert Thornton against Scott Mitchell. So that is the defending seniors world champion and the match play champion too against Scott Mitchell. Scott's only just come off the PDC main tour and has come into the tournament. He wasn't still the second favourite. That is a really tough game, Bob, for both players. Robert Thornton was terrific last night.
Oh, terrific, but one's a fast player and one's a steady player.
Martin Adams against Leonard Gates, the multi-titled Martin Adams, who is as steady as you like, but as efficient as you like, and just seems to go up on the stage and get the job done. Leonard Gates, the Texan, very exciting player. His counting is something, it's an issue he's got to look at, so that's a fascinating game in itself for tonight. Darren Johnson against Phil Taylor. You said earlier this afternoon, but the way Phil played last night, well, it's a different day, it's a different night, it's a different game. So with the way he played last night, he can't win the title. So we're looking at what level Phil's going to be at.
Well, he knows that himself.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know, so you've got to up your game, but you've got to be in the 90s to win this.
John Part against Daryl Fitton. Who'd you take to win that?
I don't know that one, to be honest with you. I'll go Fitton.
You go Daryl Fitton, yeah?
Yeah, I'm not sure. They're playing about the same, so I'll go Fitton.
We will see. So, time for us to go now, but only for a couple of hours, because we will be back at 7 o'clock for those 4 matches that will finalise the lineup for the quarter-finals of this year's Seniors World Darts Championship. Been a good afternoon, Bob, hasn't it?
Great. It's been great.
A terrific afternoon. Hope you'll join us tonight. See you soon. Bye for now.
Phil Taylor winning yet again on the
Okay, guys. The semi-final, which is coming up, and then the final will be on the Twitch channel. So if you wish to watch those matches, please join me on the Twitch channel. Link is in the description.